Turn the volume up, way up. The Clash Royale League begins now in North America. Our first match features the last-ranked 100 Thieves, battling for pride, redemption, and to destroy the dreams of second-ranked Cloud9. Can the Thieves steal an upset, or will Cloud9 close in on the #1 spot? Time to find out.
The last time these squads met, it went to the final game of King of the Hill. Frost made a name for himself, taking out CMcHugh and Wings, but could not get past the German wall. Baron closing things out for his squad, keeps doing that over and over again, looking to do it one more time. Hello and welcome to Clash Royale League. I'm Rich Slayton. Joining me is Andrew Guy for the final day of Week 7 in North America. And these teams today are making their final runs for the playoffs.
Yes, a big, big day in the standings for us. We got coming up next Complexity and Immortals, but right now Cloud9 with a win can get the exact same 8-3 record that Immortals has, and 100 Thieves looking to crush dreams. That is now their job for the next 3 matches.
Well, right now, Cloud9 dreaming of taking that #1 spot from Immortals because it's so important. The #1 seed at the end of our regular season gets a first and second round bye and a much shorter path to the World Finals.
Yes, and those World Finals have been announced. They are happening in Tokyo, Japan on December 1st. Rich and I will be there, and you guys can join us. Just go in-game to your news tab and find out how.
Later today, of course, we have 2 teams making their push for those World Finals. #1, Immortals, who Cloud9 is desperately trying to get past. And you have Complexity trying to get back in the win column and stay in playoff contention. But right now, we have Cloud9 currently in second place, facing off against 100 Thieves.
Absolutely. 100 Thieves in their roster. We got Gilgamesh coming out, Frost, PT105, and of course, Eddie and their opponents. Cloud9 in second place. We got Wings, CMcHugh, Baron, and Trainer Chris.
A lot on the line here. Cloud9 not looking past the currently eliminated 100 Thieves, and a big part of that is the direction of their coach, Eric, who is standing by with Christy St. John.
Thanks, guys. So, Eric, if you guys win today, you will be #1 in the standings. Tell me, does Cloud9 do well under that kind of pressure?
Yeah, I think all our players are they thrive under pressure. It's where we like to be. So, I mean, I like that all the standings are close. It really, it motivates us.
Of course, 100 Thieves not doing so well in the standings, and they're kind of playing spoiler right now because their chance for playoffs aren't there. So, do you prepare differently against a team like that?
I don't think so. I think we prepare the same way because they're a great team. They're here for a reason. They have a great coach, great manager. Woody's been around for, I don't know how long, forever, since the beginning. And they're all competitors. I know them. So, regardless if they're eliminated, they're going to come out and try to win.
All right, we'll see. I'm hoping for an exciting match. Thanks for talking to me. Back to you guys.
Thanks, Christy. We're about to jump into the war rooms and these matches, but first we're super excited. More official Clash Royale cards courtesy of Tops.
Yeah, remember you guys can get these cards at shop.supercell.com, and I was really excited about the match. I'm actually a little more excited for the cards for the moment, just for the moment.
Yeah, last time I got an Ice Wiz, you picked up a Night Witch.
Yeah, we're looking for that legendary. So today I got a Rocket, some Bats, some Minions, some more Bats, Goblin Gang. I do love the Goblin Gang. And the E-Barbs. They're in every single one of these packs.
They're in every single deck on ladder, too.
Supercell is trolling us.
Okay, we got some arrows. There we go. Royal Giant, super buff. Cannon, the Ice Spirit. And take a look at this. Full P.E.K.K.A. and the Inferno Tower. So if you're trying to push Golem, sorry, I just ruined your day.
All right, I got another Rocket, some Guards. Those have been popping up a lot. Ice Spirit, Cannon, another Royal Giant to add to the meta, and some arrows. We saw how effective those were last match.
Yeah, they're legit, absolutely. So let's go look one more pack. And Skeleton Barrel, one of your favorites.
Yes.
The Archers, all right, looking good here.
If you get a miner, I'm stealing it.
If you get a miner, it's all yours. Of course, everyone else wants a miner. Stop requesting that with those legendary trade tokens. We don't all have them. All right, there's Goblins, the Purple Skelly Barrel, and a heal.
Wow.
So,
nice.
yeah, run your troll deck right now, everybody. Nice heal.
All
right, guys, so that's it. We'll open more cards. We will find a legendary today, don't you worry. But right now, we're going to go see some legendary play and some OP talks inside the War Room.
Good evening. The sun has set on our playoff hopes. But a new moon rises. For 3 match days, we will amble in tranquil darkness. You see, you got to cast away the 9 clouds of obscurity that get in your way. For the giant only wins if the goblins don't stab back. Much like visitors, you should march like a vanguard into darkness, because we've always known that that's where thieves thrive. All right, you can put your pens and paper down and hands in, please. 3, 2, 1. 100!
There's only one thing that I'm gonna say, and it's just like, don't get cocky. That's it. That's literally it. Your mind when you get cocky, like it's so bad for you. Just go out there, play your game, and they're still good players. They have a bad record, but they know what they're doing. So just play your game. Let's win. We're close to the end.
Between you and me, I would give up my kingdom to have a friend as close as these 2v2 partners are. I mean, I have friends. Just a little jelly, that's all. CMQ and Wings, Frost and Gilgamesh, show us the power of your 2v2 bond on the battlefield.
2v2 underway for 100 Thieves. Frost and Gilgamesh coming out.
Finding some success, but not a ton. Frost is actually 0-4 in 2v2 sets. However, he has proven to be a great head-to-head player. And their opponents, we got Wings and CMQ coming out today. Wings is 3-4 overall in 2v2 sets, and CMQ is 1-3. Now, these guys are much better head-to-head players, so it's interesting to see them in this 2v2 position.
Let's take a look at our ban cards that are no order necessary, because look at this, they're the exact same.
Yeah, the double Lava Hound ban, not something we've seen a lot here, but apparently both these guys want to keep to the ground. Now, that doesn't mean the balloon won't show up, but I am very curious to see what archetypes we see today, Rich.
Last time it was 100 Thieves taking 2v2. Can Cloud9 flip the script? Game number 1 underway. When these two last faced off, it was Eddie and Gilgamesh against Trainer Chris and Baron, and that was a 4-game set. After game number 3 came to a draw, it was 100 Thieves coming out on top.
Yeah, and 100 Thieves has only found success in 2 matches so far this season, trying to ruin the dreams of Cloud9 and take that third.
This was the 3rd match of the season for Cloud9, and they were still struggling with 2v2 at that point. They lost the 2v2 set in their first 4. Since then, though, they have gone 3-3 in this set.
Yeah, Rich, and it is absolutely amazing. Since the opening of the season, they've gone 7 of 9 in their last matches, winning 7 of their last 9. And you know the focus on 2v2 has a lot to do with that very, very positive record.
A nice Magic Archer, though, getting damage on the Ice Wizard and Tower. So first minute down, and things are still pretty even. Cloud9 with a slight advantage in the left lane.
Yeah, great value out of that flying machine, cleaning up the Inferno Dragon and the Ice Wizard without having to cross the river.
Of course, that King Tower activation might be an issue as we get deeper along, so we'll see how that affects the strategy of Frost and Gilgamesh.
Wow, that tornado with the Ice Wizard and the Magic Archer, a ton of defense coming through for C9.
And now it's the Magic Archer of C9 getting damage on the right-hand side, so extending that dual lane lead here as we approach double elixir time.
And despite having the Royal Hogs here, the 100 Thieves are having a hard time breaking through, a harder time breaking through than they'd like.
Miner getting on tower, supported by the giant Snowball, which has been making more appearances here in 2v2. It did have a little buff in the last update, taking it slow from 2 to 2.5 seconds and increasing its damage by 10%.
Yeah, great job of picking up the flying machine with those guards and the Ice Spirit there. Once again, very, very good defense, cleaning up those Royal Hogs. That Magic Archer will get a shot off, but it's the Miner of Cloud9 that is really the MVP of this game so far, really keeping even with 100 Thieves without really expending a lot of effort or elixir.
This Magic Archer staying alive for a long time, also cleaning up a lot of the troops in the P.E.K.K.A.'s way, forcing more elixir to be spent by 100 Thieves.
And that's elixir that they cannot spend on their offense, which is something they really greatly need to focus on, now being at about a 400 damage difference than Cloud9.
And now it's 100 Thieves' chance to activate their King Tower, so all 4 cannons are out and pointed at the field of play.
So with this miner continuing to come in, that coupled with the poison, you've got to think that 100 Thieves need to strike right now, because that miner coupled with the poison is going to take their tower very, very quickly. They've got a fireball, they've got a rocket. They are very, very close. Actually, they're already within fireball and rocket range.
And with that miner getting damage on the tower, this should be it. The rocket coming in, so very, very close. The giant snowball, no, it's going to be the log. And there we are. And the giant snowball at 49 would have been just out of range of doing it. So nice log play here. Cloud9 seeming to do a little better in the 2v2 set.
Yeah, and as we said, man, their focus on this 2v2 set has been a big reason why they're at the very top of the standings. And you see here the miners coming in through the entire game doing so much work. You got all these troops coming down the left-hand lane, but the Tombstone, the Magic Archer, and then the Tornado coming in right now. Incredible defense. Both your troops are 100% healthy coming across the river.
So taking a look at the 3 losses of Cloud9, all of them coming in matches where they lost in 2v2. In fact, in the 3 times they have won 2v2, they have won all 3 of those matches.
Exactly. That is exactly my point, and I'm so glad that you brought those statistics up, is because if they win the 2v2, they don't have to go to King of the Hill, which is a place that they shine in. But when they take the 2s, they take the match.
So here we are, game number 2, Cloud9 looking to close this out early and go into our next set with the advantage. Cloud9 wishing good luck, some princess thumbs up, and we will see if that good luck does fall the way of 100 Thieves.
Yep, and now we see 4 miners in play. This is the reason why it was banned earlier in the day. The miner just doing so much damage, tanking for those cheap cards, those squishy cards, a menace in 2v2.
So again, it's the Magic Archer doing very, very well for Cloud9 and defending it with that Ice Spirit still barely alive, and that forces 2 more elixir to be spent.
So that's 5 elixir to take out the Magic Archer because of the Mega Minion coupled with the log, and that is that's a negative trade for 100 Thieves, but they know that if it stays alive, they will pay for it. And a great rocket to clean up that Inferno drag.
Although a good pickup here with those guards, so the rocket not quite clearing the way.
A great blow to the confidence every single time your opponent gets one of those rockets off on you and cleans up your troop. It's such a great elixir trade for them. Now, it might be a 6 for 5, or excuse me, a 6 for 4, but you're getting so much tower damage.
So this time it's 100 Thieves out to the early lead in this 2v2 game. And one difference I've noticed so far, Andrew, is that the Magic Archers of Cloud9 are staying on the field a lot shorter for a lot smaller lengths than they were in game number 1.
Yeah, and that's, you know, we've talked about it time and time again. The Magic Archer can be the deciding factor in these 2v2 games. Honestly, we've seen Magic Archers and Miners alone win 2v2 sets in matches.
Both squads running P.E.K.K.A, maybe expecting to see Royal Giant, Golem, although maybe expecting to see Royal Giant more of those 2 with the recent way that this set has shaped out.
And that NATO Fireball was exactly what C9 needed to keep this Inferno Dragon alive, stop the P.E.K.K.A, stop the big push from 100 Thieves. 100 Thieves giving way too much spell value to their opponents.
So there's a slight difference there in the Magic Archer versus the Musketeer. Andrew, notice the Magic Archer was in 1 shot from Princess Tower range, and when it gets in range, it has a fast enough first shot to beat the Princess Tower, whereas the Musketeer, if it's 1 shot, it always gets killed first.
Yes, and that 1 extra shot is worth a lot. Not a ton of damage, but still, in these sets, we've seen games be decided by 20 HP, 11 HP. Every hit counts, and now you see that miner on the top of the screen taking that tower below 300 health, whereas the one at the bottom of the screen has just above 1,000.
So some good defense important here, although with that rocket coming in, this could be trouble 400 Thieves. That second log, though, should do it. Now can C9 get that tower down at
No,
115?
they
They
can't.
do not. So we are going to a third game.
Yeah, all the spells coming down for C9, trying to get that tower, but 100 Thieves, no. They did a great job defending throughout. That tower was just healthy enough, and now we're going to game number 3.
Just could not get it down. They knew that they were in that situation, but just started pumping the gas a little bit too late here.
Yeah, and right now we see this poison coming down, cleaning up that Magic Archer, but this is what I was talking about with the Inferno Dragon getting cleaned up and the rocket coming in. This is a ton of damage, and they just don't have anything getting on top of the miner. If the miner's left undefended, he'll do about 600 damage on his own. Way too much.
So here we are, game number 3. Again, this one feeling a lot like the first time around. So will we see a game 3 draw and a game 4? Will history repeat itself, or will one of these teams take the lead at this stage in our match? You know, Andrew, you could not have two more different squads in their approach to Clash Royale. 100 Thieves, always laughing, always smiling, always kind of letting loose, having a good time. Cloud9, laser focused in a way that maybe not any other team is like here at CRL.
Yeah, absolutely. And, you know, the thing is you got to do what works for your team, and you got to find out what is best for them, which condition they perform under the best. And Cloud9's found that they all need to be laser focused. No playing around, no joking around. We need to get this game out of the way. We can mess around after the match. 100 Thieves recognizing that they need to loosen up in order to perform at their best. Although Frost is one of the the interesting cases to where he has to be completely under pressure. His hands have to go numb, and then he snaps into this killer mode.
I have a feeling that we will not see a full team smile from Cloud9 until they are raising the North American Championship.
I mean, here's the thing with Cloud9 is they've got one goal. They've said it since day one. When they took those losses, they wanted to win out. And now being in second place, they've proven that their focus has paid off.
So reaching the midway point, and with that rocket, it's going to be 100 Thieves slightly ahead.
And a rocket back, both cleaning up an Ice Wizard and a Mega Minion, respectively.
So nearly playing in sync, these two squads, for the moment.
Yeah, very, very similar deck compositions, very similar damage dealt. It's going to be about who catches the miners more.
And there's a King Tower activation. We have not seen one yet from 100 Thieves, so you gotta wonder if that's gonna come in at some point. And that's that miner versus tornado dance, where you keep playing it in the safe spot from activation, but on the flip side, it gets caught every single time.
Right, so then you want to switch it up so you can actually get some damage in, but then your opponents have now activated the King Tower. Not banking on the Royal Hogs in this instance to do you a lot of damage is nice, but still, that King Tower is still shooting at your miner. Your miner's going to get less hits.
So those of you asking about the safe spot, where the miner right now is in the bottom left-hand of your screen, that dark tile, that is the safe spot to not be tornadoed. So you see Cloud9 continuing to play their miner there at this point, and you still see, even with the King Tower activation, 100 Thieves playing essentially in the same spot.
Yeah, and that missed rocket from that predictive rocket not hitting anything was a very, very interesting play by 100 Thieves. Now, they're not going to lose because of it in this moment, but that was a very interesting pre-rocket.
A lot to deal with here in the right-hand lane. P.E.K.K.A, Inferno Dragon, Miner getting on tower. Now Cloud9 has to make sure, there goes the snowball taking care of that left-hand tower. You never want to be caught out just in a moment. Right. And we've all done it before.
And we've seen it here at CRL.
Where you just put a tower in range and you just forget to drop it.
Yeah, or you can't get around to your cycle quick enough. There is something very satisfying about taking out a Princess Tower with a snowball.
So we are in sudden death overtime, and both squads really buzzing, hoping to take this one. And again, just like last time, game number 3 did go to sudden death, but that one stalled out. With how low the towers are here and the deck construction, Andrew, I don't see that happening.
Yeah, and that was just a brutal fireball, getting so much value. 2 flying machines plus another additional unit, so much elixir for that fireball.
Miner and Poison down at the bottom, and notice that Cloud9's being careful to make sure that Poison does also get King Tower, but still be broad enough to play defense against those troops.
Yeah, and a lot of talk going on between Frost and Gilgamesh. Not so much between CMQ and Wings. It seems that they have gone into a trance.
And here we go. It's Frost and Gilgamesh getting things, getting the slight lead. So neither team backing off. We are going to come down to the very end.
And that miner taking for that flying machine could have been huge. We got one more rocket coming out. You see in the bottom right screen, Gilgamesh is clicking it, clicking it, clicking it. 4 more seconds. 3 needs 2 more ticks from that, and that's
Oh my God! 11
was
HP again.
How many times have we seen that 11 pop up? We were doing the counting. 4 seconds for the rocket, 8 seconds for the poison. You needed 1 more tick from that poison a second earlier, and now head in the hands is the coach of Cloud9, feeling that slipping right out of their fingers.
They cannot believe it. So here goes this first rocket versus poison, getting everything down in range. Wow. And here we go.
Tick, tick, rocket, tick. 1 second, a half of a second.
Can we back that up and watch that slow motion to see just how long it stayed on 11? I am so fascinated by that moment, and this is what it's all about. Buzzer beater shots from way downtown. It's 100 Thieves taking the set, Gilgamesh and Frost, and good one for Frost now, getting his first win in a set of 2v2. Let's look at that replay, and we're going to look very slow to see just how long that bottom right tower stays on 11. So here we go. We get the trade of the spells, and it's the log behind it, and you can see there's nothing but damage there.
Yeah.
So they get the poison down. Oh my gosh, this is so crazy.
So they're dropped at the exact same time. Tick, tick. Boom. So we're talking less than a half of a second before that next tick is coming in to take the tower. So now 100 Thieves in the position they want to be, the dream killer role. They want to bring Cloud9 down. Wow.
And you know who they want in this position right now? The dark horse looking to be the pale horse. Of course, it is Eddie facing off in 1v1 against the German phenom Baron.
Chess, ping pong, horseshoes. Baron and Eddie played them all, but they could not settle their feud. Gentlemen, how about a classic game of Clash Royale? The 1v1 showdown is now!
Facing off in 1v1, it's the first place Combine standout Eddie against the CCGS World Finalist Baron.
Yeah, Eddie was their #1 1v1 specialist to start the season off, but he went 2-2 overall, 4-6 in games. So they decided to change it up a little bit over the last couple of weeks. Now let's see if he can bring back that magic he had in the first couple. Baron on the other side of him has been pretty killer in these 1v1 sets, 4-1 overall. Let's see what he's got for Cloud9.
Taking a look at the ban cards for this potential 3-game set, 100 Thieves choosing to ban Graveyard against the Mega Minion of Cloud9.
Wow, that is the very first Graveyard ban, at least that I can remember. And one thing that we've seen Graveyard prevail over a lot is Beatdown. So we wonder if that is something that someone has in their deck pool.
Will the Dark Horse gallop his way to a win, or will Baron hold strong for Cloud9? A good luck from Baron and the who knows wizard. Cloud9's Baron top of your screen, 100 Thieves Eddie at the bottom for this very important 1v1 set.
Yes, and the #1 first place player at the Combine in Eddie is looking to crush the dreams of Cloud9. He is 2 games away.
Baron, though, has been fantastic in head-to-head play with a record of 9 wins and just 4 losses and 1 draw.
Yep. And here we go once again. We've seen it over and over and over. Lava Hound pushing into Golem. The early lava means the later Golem, and Eddie's got to feel pretty confident about this exchange.
Although,
yeah, minions dropped a little low there, Rich. You figured you might have focused on the balloon, but he might have another tombstone in hand.
That's exactly what I was thinking, and here we go. This balloon's going to get through to tower, so that is a huge connection by this lava balloon push. Of course, looks like we might be close to a tower trade situation with the damage on the other side as well.
Yeah, a very fortunate exchange for Eddie, but I do believe that that was a bit of a misplay. He should have been able to take out that balloon and then kind of ignored the Lava Hound, let the Lava Hound do work on his tower, and preserved his left Princess tower.
And that Inferno Dragon has practically built a house here
That's very
in the
true.
arena. Been around for, I mean, since the beginning of Clash Royale, it
Since
feels.
the beginning of time. And now finally getting cleaned up. That Lava Hound coming back down. A Golem at the river. Very aggressive Golem at the river. Let's see if it pays off.
So Baron again choosing to go into the same lane, Andrew. Maybe feeling like he outplays Eddie in these situations?
I mean, it's tough to go for the 3 crown right now. I understand pushing into the lane, probably trying to maybe take an advantage over Eddie if Eddie makes a mistake, and then decide if he's going to go for 3 crown or the Princess Tower based off of what Eddie does.
So Eddie slowing down his play a little bit, and Baron picking up the pace, which sounds crazy for a beatdown versus beatdown match, but that's really what it feels like right now.
And there is the Lightning coming in. Maybe earlier Eddie thought he was going to be able to get away with the Lightning. I'm not sure. I'm still very surprised that first tower lost, because this is much more how his defense should have went the first time around. And he should have still taken that tower from Baron.
But Baron currently with a slight elixir lead. You know, even though Eddie at the moment had a little bit more, Baron has more troops on the field. So right now he is playing like the world finalist that he is.
Ooh, and that is exactly what Eddie needed right there, was the raged up minions combined with the Inferno Dragon, or with the Baby Dragon, to take out the Inferno Dragon, but still, Baron cycling back around to another one. The Inferno Dragon has been the MVP for him in this game.
A lot of healthy troops right now for Baron, and even with that Lightning, that might be a little bit early here. This balloon could put this thing away. No balloon necessary. Game over. Baron kind of bucking the thought process and showing that he is simply better in that matchup.
Yeah, I mean, you saw that desperation tombstone coming at the end, and that's when you see those late buildings being dropped in inopportune places. That is a very big indicator that your opponent has nothing left in the tank. And right here, you see a lot of healthy troops coming across the center of the map. He drops the guards right in the pocket along with the balloon getting tanked for. And as you said, Rich, that that Inferno Dragon on the tower didn't even need the balloon to connect.
You know, I gotta think that the story here is the superior elixir management. Not even talking about the leaked elixir, because it is a beatdown versus beatdown story, but it felt like Baron was always just a little bit ahead and a little bit more efficient.
Yeah, and I really felt like that first exchange was a huge, huge mistake by Eddie. And Rich, I believe that is actually the very first time we've seen the Lava Hound pushing into the same lane as the Golem and actually prevail. I'm not 100% on it, but I'm pretty sure.
Well, you know, someone's going to do it. It's going to be Baron, who is just so continually calm throughout this season. I feel like if you told him he won $1 million, he would have the exact same look on his face.
I would not be surprised. Very similar to Vulcan, in which he gets in those very high-pressure situations, and it looks like he wasn't even in it. Very curious to see what deck Eddie is running here.
Definitely going fast and cheap. Right now at a 7 elixir cycle.
And that fireball is not what Baron wanted to see. A great surround with those skellies. The Skeleton's a 1 elixir card for most novice players. They look at it and they're like, why would I ever want this in my deck? But you watch pros use the Skeletons and they are so, so good. And I was gonna say this might be a siege deck, but I've been wrong so many times before. I didn't want to commit to it. Very interesting here.
Eddie has played Expo twice here at CRL with 1 win and 1 loss. So looking to get back in the win column here. And if it can pick up that last Musketeer, it might be getting some decent value here.
Yep, and Eddie defends it with those Skeletons, a very cheap defense. He's trying to get 2 on the board, I'd imagine. And there is the second.
Does not get tower lock, though, so those Royal Hogs should make short work of it.
Yeah, those Royal Hogs eating that Expo alive. And honestly, the Royal Hogs into the Expo is a positive elixir trade for the Royal Hog player, and usually a couple of them will stay alive.
So Andrew, I know this is probably way too early for this conversation, but you're up against Royal Hogs, 3 Musketeers, a lot that can quickly get in the way of your Expo, a lot that can take your Expo down.
Yep.
Do you start playing defense and just stacking Expos in the back? At what point do you make that choice?
I mean, I definitely think the 2 Expo idea is the best way to go because you have the Royal Hogs. You need something to clean those troops up as efficiently as possible, so having 2 buildings on the board is very effective. Expo has proven to not be very, very powerful or efficient here in CRL. Even though Eddie's got a win with it before, he's really up against a very tough matchup right now.
And of course, C. McHugh has also won here with Expo. So it definitely, in the right hands, can be played well.
Right. But you see, it's just having such a hard time. That 1 hog tanking it for the whole thing, getting, and still getting damage down on the right tower. And he can comfortably send in those 3 musketeers right on top of it, somehow missing one of them with the fireball.
And you feel like an Expo deck against a more expensive 3 Musketeer bet deck, you would never have an Expo met directly by 3 Musketeers.
Yeah, but that's the thing about these pros is they make these plays that are so, risky, and I'm using air quotes you guys can't see, but it seems risky to people like us.
And I'm an Expo player, and I'll tell you that's the death knell right there. When you're putting down an Expo in front of your tower, trying to pick up troops like that, that's when you know you're really in trouble.
Yeah, and you got to know that Baron recognizes that. Eddie is in a very, very bad position. He's going to need a miracle, Rich.
Well, again, now I think, again, down at 971, can you even play for a draw at this point? That fireball coming in.
Yeah, not with 2
pretty
minutes
hot
left. And you see how quickly these hogs make work of that Expo. Even just a couple hits every single time for the next 2 minutes is going to be more than enough for Baron.
So just a tough spot, and especially, even with, it was a difficult deck to be playing even before this last month. With the Royal Giant buff, now so many cards that pretty much directly counter Expo. It's an interesting deck choice at this stage.
Yeah, and this is just a straight up horrible matchup for Eddie.
And I'm wondering what that last card there, he has played Expo Inferno Tower together.
I mean, maybe it's a rocket. It's kind of the only thing I can think it would be at this point since he hasn't played it. You figure at least the Inferno Tower might come down to pick up those hogs. He finally gets a lock. It's a great lock, not going to be enough. But, actually making this game look closer than it ever has been.
Yeah, we'll see. The question is, how does he defend this Royal Hog
and
push?
It is an Inferno
It is the
Tower.
Inferno Tower.
Great
so.
call, Rich.
But with that last fireball there, even with an Expo lock, if he can get it on now, this will not be enough. Baron, plenty of time to cycle back and finish this thing.
Yep.
So we'll see a fireball here in just a moment. There it is.
And the wizard that doesn't know what happened just pushed us to King of the Hill.
So here we are. It is King of the Hill. Once again, last time these squads went to the 3rd and final set, it was a 5-game King of the Hill match. Let's see if it goes that long again. And here is this moment right here where you're kind of, what is happening?
Yeah, the 3 Musketeers dropped right at the river. The missed fireball, 1 surviving. Just really a tough matchup for Eddie. And then you see just chipping away. The Expo finally gets down and gets a lock. This one's coming in to try to steal the game. Just not going to happen. Baron with the fireball. Easily taking that set in 2.
That Inferno Tower, a very tough call. And look, probably played the Inferno Tower, maybe expecting Royal Giant or some sort of big beatdown card. A question of maybe some other smaller building, anything from the Tombstone to the Cannon to even the much maligned and not seen Bomb Tower, which was buffed specifically to be a Royal Hog counter, might have been more efficient in this case.
I mean, absolutely. This is actually a case we could make for the Bomb Tower. The Inferno Tower with the single target it was the reason why he kept it in his hand for the entirety of that game.
So here we go, King of the Hill, 3 players for each squad, going up trying to take out their opponents. And as Andrew just noted, they only get 1 shot at it. So let's go inside the war rooms as they set their lineups and their final card bans.
Sit down, children. Let me enlighten you with my divine knowledge. All right. First and foremost, we're going to hit them with the man, the myth, the legend, Eddie. All right? Ricardo Martinez. Number 2, the Marine himself, the little boat boy, PT 105. Absolute mad lad. And then it's not going to get here. I'm not going to play, but we'll put me up there. you know, just because.
Proper 12 on 3.
Just because, bro.
Hey, Frost, when am I playing?
Simmer down there. you got the bench, young man.
I gotta keep it warm.
You gotta keep it warm. All right, let's get it. 3, 2, 1, 100!
Well, we got our lineup. CMC starting us off like always, and then we're gonna make a switch. Baron's gonna go second since he's on a hot streak, and if we need you wings, clutch as always. It's basically 0-0, like I said before. We basically came in today to play King of the Hill. We reset it. Unfortunate 2v2, but get that out of your head. Let's go out there and play our game. King of the Hill is literally our home. So let's just go out there. Each one match at a time. If we lose one, it is what it is. Anyone here could sweep, so no reason to get down. Let's just go out there and kill it, boys.
Last place 100 Thieves have matched second-ranked Cloud9 tower for tower. Do I smell an upset in the cards? I sure smell something. Oh dear, I forgot to bathe the royal hogs. That can wait. It's time for King of the Hill.
Here we go once again. King of the Hill, just like the last time these two met. And starting off, Eddie up against C. McHugh.
Yeah, as Rich just said, we got Eddie kicking it off for 100 Thieves, followed by PT105, who is 3-4 in King of the Hill, and Frost, who is 3-3, and also their 1v1 specialist. On the other side of it, we got C. McHugh kicking things off. He's 10-5 in King of the Hill, maybe the most appearances of anyone here in the NA. Baron following him 1-1, and then Wings to close it out, also at 8-2, a very, very good record.
So taking a look at the bans for all potential 5 games here in our King of the Hill set, it's Balloon and Royal Hogs.
Two of the strongest offensive cards in the game. Get them out of here. The Royal Hogs can offset an entire game, and the Balloon can come in the last few seconds and ruin your dreams.
So a King of the Hill opening rematch, Eddie and C. McHugh starting things off once again. Cloud9, C. McHugh, top of your screen. 100 Thieves, Eddie at the bottom.
And this kind of, I mean, I know it's not a must-win situation for Cloud9, Rich, but this is a very, very big game for them.
It's a huge one. Not only would they move into first place with a win, of course, pending on Immortals' later match today against Complexity. Right now, though, they with the same record, since they have a match in hand, they would move forward. A loss, though, would move them down behind Tribe Gaming into third place based on tiebreakers.
Wow, and Tribe is a force to be reckoned with right now.
So first minute down, and Eddie showing a minor. Not sure exactly what's going on here with Eddie's deck.
You could see a Lava Hound, maybe?
Eddie does run some very interesting decks. And you know what? Last time they played, Eddie did run a Lava Miner deck.
Yep.
C. McHugh came out on top in that one with his own giant Miner Poison. So who knows if Eddie is looking to pull a fast one on him, going the same thing in the second time around.
Yeah, and C. McHugh also running a very interesting deck. He's got 4 cards at 2 Elixir already in his hand. A very, very cheap, very fast cycle deck. Could just be some version of Minor Poison Control.
Yeah, it's only right now a 8 Elixir cycle.
He could have 3 Musketeers because the deck's so cheap, and you got 3 great tanking options for them.
So it is Lava Miner again for Eddie, so a little bit of trickeration here.
Yeah, glad I got that one right because I did not get the 3 Musketeers right on C. McHugh coming out with that Inferno Tower. So he is playing a straight-up Minor Poison control deck, and the idea here is, you know, you control the pace of the game by playing very good defense. You chip away with the Miner. Every now and then you get the Miner tanking for maybe your Spear Goblins or your Bats, as you can see right here. And here's the thing about control decks, Rich. We've talked to a lot of the pros, and we haven't seen as many of them because when you're playing against someone else who is so good, control decks don't really leave a lot of space to make mistakes. If you get at a big damage deficit with a control deck, it's very hard to bounce back against, say, a beatdown deck.
Well, Eddie is certainly one to take risks, so it seems like an interesting pairing here between Eddie again going with the Lava Miner, now supported by the Inferno Dragon, and C. McHugh saying, I think I can play a tighter game than you when it gets into crunch time.
And you notice that Eddie did not zap the Inferno Tower because he wants his Lava Hound to die so that they can get more damage in, the Miner tanking for it. And now with only 5 seconds left in regulation, Eddie is in a very, very great position.
A nice kite, though, and not picking up the Miner here is C. McHugh, so this might be it. We don't know what Eddie's final card is, so there is the Fireball Zap. And this time it's Eddie taking game number 1 against C. McHugh.
And honestly, that was a great attempt at a pickup with that Royal Ghost by C. McHugh. He dropped it in the correct spot, just didn't get the swing in quick enough. Eddie doing a wonderful job controlling the pace of the game, keeping the pressure up. And as I said, with those control decks, you do have the opportunity to control the game, but also if you get at a damage deficit, it is very, very hard to come back. And right now, this is the moment I was talking about where he let the Lava Hound die purposefully. He had a zap in hand, but he didn't use it because, and you see the zap coming down then, he didn't use it because he wants the Lava Hound to die for those pups to come out for the more amount of damage.
So Lava Miner paying off for Eddie this time around, very different than the last time he was here. And up next for him, a rematch from our 1v1, it's Baron for Cloud9. Good luck, good luck. And Baron seems to have found his new favorite emote, the Confused Wizard.
Yeah, I really love those new emotes. And Eddie now trying to get revenge. Seeing those skellies again, let's hope he's not running an Expo deck against Baron once again.
Look, that would be exactly what Eddie is like, though.
That's true.
He lost Lava Miner against C. McHugh last time they faced off, so he might be like, look, dude, I can get you at this Expo, and maybe you won't expect it.
Right, I'm going to try running it back, and honestly, with the cards we've seen so far, it's not completely out of play.
It really looks like it might be the case, and there's the Inferno Tower, which didn't get down earlier because he was up against that Free Musketeer Royal Hog deck. Here, a much better choice, so it's really feeling like Expo here.
How badly do you want it to be Expo and him to win with it? I mean, I know we can't pick sides here, but you love that Expo so much, Rich.
I've put it down for a while considering how rough it is at this point, and I've found some other decks that are pretty fun at the moment, but don't you worry, my Expo Miner...
there it is for you.
Here we go. It's Expo again, so Eddie... the ultimate troll so far here in King of the Hill.
I love the stubbornness of Eddie being like, I'm going to win with Expo whether you like it or not, and he gets those skeletons down just in time. That's going to be just enough defense to not have to worry about these two troops. And now we're at a standstill. We all know what everyone's playing, and Baron is going to keep that P.E.K.K.A. in hand.
So it is a bridge spam deck for Baron, which is frustrating as an Expo player because you play at the bridge and then every one of your opponent's cards drop there. And that Electro Wizard and Zap both are going to be real big issues for Eddie as we go on in this game.
Exactly. Being able to reset the targeting of the Expo if it ever does get on his tower. You got a tanky Bandit, you got a tanky Battle Ram, and you've got the tankiest of Mother P.E.K.K.A.s.
So now playing defensive Expo. And this is going to happen every time he does that, too. The poison's going to come down in this P.E.K.K.A. bridge spam deck, so not a lot of great options. And, you're thinking, hey, maybe play some defense, try to spell cycle at some point, and you do have Fireball Log. Maybe you can beat him in a spell cycle situation by playing good defense. But that poison is going to make that pretty much impossible.
Exactly. Every single time that Expo comes down in the center of the map defensively, it's a free poison, 6 elixir allocated to defense, not attacking your towers. It's a poison 10 times out of 10.
There is always the possibility that Eddie sneaks an Expo on. He does get one on tower, so now he doesn't quite take the lead, but evens things up a little bit, and we are moving into sudden death overtime.
Yeah, still feels very, very tough with all the cards that Baron has in hand to try to get this Expo to become a non-factor.
And again, this is, in my opinion, a desperation Expo being played. I think it also might have been one tile back out of tower lock range. It does its job, it does slow things down, but not the way you love seeing the Expo played when you're trying to cycle that through correctly.
Yeah, and the thing about this too is that in these exchanges, the Expo deck doesn't really prevail in a moment where you're just dropping cards at the river, whereas the bridge spam deck is designed to do that.
Look, Eddie does have a very slight elixir lead, or he did for a moment, so even with the Expo being played as a sacrificial lamb there, coming out pretty clean from it, that left-hand tower is still completely untouched.
Yeah, and Eddie playing very good defense here. You almost think he doesn't have the elixir for it based off of dropping troops late, but he's just playing very efficient defense. Missing the bandit charge there, but getting the fireball in. That P.E.K.K.A, just the worst.
It's going to be there every single time.
For sure. I mean, you're playing against someone who's too good to play the P.E.K.K.A out of rotation. You're playing against a pro in CRL, at CRL, excuse me, and they're never going to get that P.E.K.K.A out of rotation unless you drop the Expo.
And that's the other part about this deck construction for Baron, having both the E-Wiz and the Zap, is that he can reset the Expo. He can also reset that Inferno Tower and give his P.E.K.K.A some more life as well.
So here's the thing, Rich, is both these guys seem to have a really hard time breaking through. So now they both need to commit to one tower and start getting that spell damage down on it, get all their focus down on it. There's 90 seconds left in this game. Lowest tower wins.
Yeah, and looking like a lowest tower situation. And here's another thing to think about is Eddie does have more direct damage, more quick direct damage on tower in this case. So if we get into a race, he can beat that 8-second tick of the poison, which we've seen before.
Wow, and that bandit still getting a dash with the late Ice Spirit. That was huge for Baron.
That bandit might be the deciding factor in this game. So we'll see now both towers in a very, very low comparatively for Eddie, so it's going to be very difficult. And if this Ram connects, which it does, that really should be it.
Yeah, I mean, this is a lot of damage on that tower with only 45 seconds left. It almost seems impossible for Baron to lose it at this point. That P.E.K.K.A will get aggro from the, well, actually the Electro was picked it up first. Battle Ram coming in, and a healthy P.E.K.K.A in the left-hand lane.
So a really stalwart defense by Eddie, but just a couple of moments not going his way. And unless something completely crazy happens, this is going to be Baron's game here in this part of King of the Hill.
Yep, and with that P.E.K.K.A coming down, that's pretty much going to ensure it that Baron is going to take this game because of a lowest tower situation. So now we got Cloud9 taking the 2v2 set. You got 100 Thieves taking the 1v1 set, 100 taking the first in King of the Hill, Cloud taking the second. This is a back and forth battle, Rich.
And look, Eddie did just lose that. He did just try to pull a fast one by going with the Expo again against Baron. But also Eddie did his job. He came out here, he took out CMQ, he put his team in a place where they are playing even rather than playing from behind. So good show by Eddie here in this set. Just a very tough matchup here against a very tough player.
Yeah, I mean, with Royal Hogs and Bridge Spam being so much in the meta, now Royal Giant working its way in, Cannon Cart, Prince, all these cards are a nightmare for Siege decks to deal with. And now I do love the stubbornness of Eddie wanting to run his deck back. But as you said before, after the 1v1 set, Rich, maybe not the best deck choice with the meta that's in the present game.
Well, Eddie's down and Baron's still on top of the hill. Up next for the Cloud9 representative, it is PT105 making yet another appearance, his 8th here in King of the Hill. PT105 is on 100 Thieves, of course.
It's been a long week.
A great week, though. A lot of fantastic matches, and it really has been a privilege.
And PT105 has actually been streaming a good amount on Twitch these days. I've had the opportunity, or the pleasure, I should say, to hop into a few of those, and it's been a real treat. It's been nice to see him pop up in CRL. Not a ton. He's 0-1 in 1v1 sets, 0-1 in 2v2, but he is 3-4 in King of the Hill.
He can take a win, and you know, I'm waiting for his stream to be more about his shoe collection and less about Clash Royale, but for now, he'll keep showing us his skills in the game, trying to show his skills off here against the German, who looks like he's running a very similar deck to last time around.
Yep.
PT105, Miner, Prince.
Maybe a Giant coming out, but Tombstone is usually not in those decks.
He did run a Giant Miner Poison variation last time they played. And with the Prince, it wouldn't be impossible to see a Giant here.
Lava Hound. So he's going for the same idea with the Balloon Band, that Miner tanking for the pups. And I like the Prince in the deck. He needs it right now, but he doesn't have it. So now this is a tower trade situation. However, Baron in a much better defensive position.
So PT105 trying to put the Miner on the Electro Wizard rather than the tower. But there's still a jump, a big leap, a big swat from that Mega Knight on his King Tower.
Yeah, very, very interesting start to this game. It's always odd when pros do a very, very early tower trade.
So we are getting close to double elixir time, and the Lava Miner, you see a Lava deck, and you go Lava Loon, but no Balloon allowed here. So when we get into this double elixir time, does either deck have a distinctive advantage?
Well, I would have said before that Baron's probably does, because most Lava Loon decks and Lava Miner decks don't have a ton of ground responses, but with the Miner, the Prince, and the Tombstone in there, he's got a lot of great ways to catch that Mega Knight, so he's in a better position than a normal deck like this would be.
Although that Prince dealing with a lot coming down, and another leap, and just barely stopped by the poison.
Still a ton of damage on that left side tower for PT105, and he's not going to get much out of that Lava Hound on the opposite side of the map. The Miner did come in, and he did get a reset. Actually, I spoke too soon, Rich. PT did a great job playing patient there, waiting for the pup to pop, and then the exact time to bring that Miner in and tank for him.
Things pretty much even here in sudden death overtime. I think one of the hard parts here for PT105 is also going to be dealing with that Miner. No real fantastic card for picking it up. Maybe we'll see him put that Tombstone behind the tower, potentially.
And that Lava Hound coming in, oh, he wanted that minion to stay alive so badly, PT105 did. Now he's got a lot to deal with defensively.
So the Tombstone going in front of the tower to pick up the Mega Knight, and the Prince helping as well. So that Miner is going to keep on sneaking through.
And that Prince is not having a fun time with the Electro Wizard and the Inferno Dragon.
A defensive Miner here, so not going to get the offensive output from that card.
You wonder if we're going to see a Lava Hound in the pocket here? No, probably not with the Electro Wiz there.
And again, it's just no answer for that Miner.
It is a nuisance, but he recognizes that his ground cards are out of cycle or something. I mean, I don't know why that Prince didn't get picked up. Maybe it was just an overcommittal by Baron. That was a huge stab from the Lance.
So a minute left, both towers in a lot of trouble, and there we go, and sneaky inside now from Baron. And with that poison, this could very well be it, unless something crazy happens. PT105 now putting a Miner and poison on the tower. He does get a couple of swings. Down to 135. Oh my gosh. This could be PT105 stealing this thing. If the zap comes in, there it is.
Just perfect play. Getting that health in. Those poisons doing the... Wow, that was insane. PT105 keeping his cool, playing at the top of his game, and Baron doesn't really know what happened. He just got that stolen from out underneath him.
So you think that when the Prince goes to the outside and doesn't pick up the Miner and this poison comes down, you're like, oh, that has to be it. But PT105 goes, you know what, let's press the action. He goes Miner inside as well with the poison, and there we go.
Yeah, that zap picking up those minions, stopping them from hitting the Miner for just a half a second longer, getting that extra poison tick in was everything. It was a huge committal, all or nothing. Miner, zap, poison, and somehow he steals it from Baron.
PT105 with those dancing shoes on, taking out Baron. Last up for Cloud9, it's Wings. While they didn't meet last time in King of the Hill, Andrew, PT105 and Wings do have 3 games across from each other here at CRL. In the 1v1 set last time, PT105 took the first game, and then Wings reverse swept to send them to King of the Hill.
Oh, and PT slapping the podium with that missed poison. What a horrible way to start the game off for him, but he's got to bounce back. There's plenty of time left.
So we got to see what kind of deck he's playing here. I wonder if it wasn't just a misplaced card, but maybe if he meant to be putting something else there instead?
I mean, he was definitely trying to poison out that princess. It was just a misclick, and we've all been there before, but definitely not a position he wants to be in to start this game out.
So going lava poison again.
And that's the type of thing that he wants with his poison. Wow, getting all of that value back. A huge moment for PT.
That is massive. He takes that tower down, and who cares about a king tower activation?
Not having a great response to the Goblin Barrel is going to be a problem throughout this entire game.
That is certainly a challenge for him here, Andrew. You know, this bait deck. I'm wondering if we're going to see the Prince variation with the Rascals there?
Yeah, it'd be interesting to see the Prince or not. People have been really loving the Cannon card again, and there's the Prince, yeah. I truly believe the Prince is better in this deck. I actually love this bait deck. I've been running it a lot in challenges lately.
A very efficient zap and minions here to take care of that, so...
Oh, and I love, that is one of my favorite plays in the game, is sending in the Predictive Miner to pick up the Executioner, the Princess, the Wizard, the Ice Wizard, whatever it may be, to clean up your cheap, squishy troops. That is one of my favorite plays in the game.
Now entering double elixir time, so... You know, with this Lava Miner deck that he is playing, it's not end of the world for PT-105 because if that Lava gets in to tank, it will soak up a lot of that damage coming in from the King Tower.
And this is where that deck gets so dangerous. The Prince behind the Rascals, all the troops behind it. Look at the amount of troops and damage coming down on that right side tower. Yes, it's a tower trade, but there's a lot still for PT to deal with at the bottom of the screen.
And not to mention his left tower is down to 1750, so while the King Tower activation not being the biggest issue here, he does have to contend with there's going to be continued pressure on this left-hand lane.
And it's exactly, Wings knows every card in his deck. He knows what's in rotation and what's out, and PT recognizing, man, this is not the position I want to be in. Wings just outplaying him in this moment. A little bit of matchup, but honestly just a lot of play.
Yeah, it looked like PT-105 was in it for a moment. He knows he's out, taking off the headphones.
I mean, you got to give props to him for bouncing back, but you know that got into his head. That very, very first missed play, the poison, a horrible way to start out your game. Now, right here is what he wants to do, is he gets the right poison down, I believe, if this is the correct, yeah, exactly. The goblins come down on top of the princess, giving him an immaculate spell value. However, Wings, recognizing his deck, recognizing the cards that he has in rotation, knew exactly when to attack and when not to. And this, I love that we're going to bring this up. Such a great play. Doesn't end up paying off the way he wants it to, but it does keep that princess out of play. And here you have it in the pocket with the Rascals, Goblin Barrel on the tower, tanking for those 3 gobs, and PT-105 knows it's over for him.
So once again, we go to Game 5 of King of the Hill.
Yeah.
And it's a big one. Frost stepping into the arena against Wings.
Yeah, I wonder if he can feel his fingers or not, Rich.
I can barely feel mine, so game number 5, let's go. Game number 5, the final moment. This is it, Wings versus Frost for everything. They met last time in game number 4 of King of the Hill, and Frost ran 2.6 Hog Cycle against a Giant Witch Prince deck from Wings and played pretty much perfectly.
And he might be running that same deck once again. We'll see if a Musketeer comes out, and that's probably going to be it, Rich.
So 100 Thieves certainly showing up well today, and certainly, I mean, I guess I've said the word troll so many times, but they're just going, look, we did it once, we'll do it again, come on, bring it.
Yeah, I mean, absolutely. I mean, again, they know their playoffs are over. You heard them talk about it in the War Room. They knew about it, obviously. I mean, the playoffs is what everyone's been fighting for. They know their chances are out, so they want to ruin everyone else's. They become the Dream Crushers, and now we're going to see if Frost has what it takes. He might not be able to feel his fingers, but we know that's when he operates at his best.
Yeah, can he stop this graveyard deck? Now, talking about Leaked Elixir here, we are playing 2.6, a fast cycle deck. So Frost kind of holding back on decision-making might be important in some cases, but just as important is also making sure he stays ahead and punishes Wings as much as possible.
Yeah, and the interesting thing is that Wings knows every single card that's in Frost's deck. And then Frost is going to want to play his cannon over by his Princess Tower that's being attacked by the graveyard, which gives Wings a great amount of poison value every single time he goes in.
And Frost also probably knows this deck pretty well now that it's been such a big part of the CRL meta. So a very curious matchup, and here we go. The first Hog Rider getting through on the left-hand side, and King Tower activation.
Yep, very, very well timed by Frost, but a King Tower activation is always frustrating when you're playing Hog Rider. And now that also means having the Tornado in hand, a very good counter to the Hog Rider. You can counter the Hog Rider straight up with the Tornado.
And now Frost picking up the pace with his card delivery, and we see the cleanup with the pre-log. He will get one swing on Tower. So again, Frost playing this deck very well. Seems like his fingers might be loosening up here in the final minute of regulation.
And now you see that cannon coming down to prevent the graveyard, the Ice Golem meeting him at the river, doing a great job on defense, but again, giving him great poison value. As I said, Rich, hitting the cannon, the Princess Tower, and the Musketeer, that's a lot of value for one spell, and you can see it by the 747 HP on Frost's Tower.
But choosing to ignore the cannon cart on the right-hand side also for Frost. So just trying to pick up the pace here. He will get one swing, but with that Ice Whiz and the Skeletons, not going to be a second. So it is Wings really just coming out strong here, and this Graveyard Poison push might be the one that ends the game.
Yeah, I mean, he can just recreate that transaction over and over again, and even if Frost defends moderately well, he's got about 10 more hog hits that need to come in on that right side tower.
So we are in sudden death overtime. Wings just 330 hit points away from moving Cloud9 into first place, at least for the time being.
Yeah, and with Complexity and Immortals coming up next, you know Cloud9 is going to stick around after the win today to see where they end up in those standings. A big win for Wings, a tough matchup for Frost.
And there we go, a huge win for Cloud9, and it just this 2.6 deck could not keep up with the play by Wings.
Yeah, too susceptible to poisons. Your best responses to the graveyard in the Skellies and the Cannon are all going to be poisoned out by a good player, and you're playing against one of the best here in Wings, and he does exactly what he needs to, bringing this home for Cloud9.
They have to feel good, of course. I bet you they're still frustrated with their performance, losing in the 2v2 and coming all the way down to the end here in King of the Hill. I feel like they wanted to come out here with a decisive win, but look, at this stage, a win is a win.
Absolutely, a win is a win, and a loss to the very last place team is a huge confidence killer. So they needed to take this match today, and they did. And now moving towards the playoffs, it's going to give them the confidence that they need to maybe either hold the #1 spot or take it back from Immortals or Complexity, depending on how this next match goes.
Unbelievable performance here. Cloud9 getting through this one, taking out Eddie, PT105, and Frost, who all put in a gutsy, that's the best word for it, gutsy set of performances, but they could not finally close this thing out. And gotta be feeling pretty good. Getting the win is a win. Let's go to Coach Eric, who's standing by with Christy St. John.
Thanks, guys. Taking the match and #1 in the standings. How's it feel?
Feels great to have #1 back, but we definitely have a lot to work on. This season, there's still 3 games, especially against Immortals. It's a big match, so we're going to go back and prepare.
Definitely back and forth, and the 2v2 set was kind of ripped out from your fingers with 11 HP left on your tower. Kind of tell me what you were thinking in that moment.
I mean, there's only one thing to think, and it's like, let's reset. Let's get back into it. You can't really do anything about it. We still have work to do on 2v2 as well. We've gotten better, but those moments, they are tilting. We got to reset, and that's what it is.
A back and forth match, very exciting. Thanks so much for talking to me. Back to you guys.
Thanks, Christy, an all-important win because at least for the moment until our later match, Cloud9 taking a nice little leap up our standings.
An absolutely crazy past couple of weeks. Complexity, losing 4 in a row, moving down, and Cloud9 and Immortals moving up. Cloud9 now stealing that #1 position from Immortals.
So we'll see what happens later today with Immortals versus Complexity. Can they come back to it? Of course, Cloud9 and Immortals face off next week on Tuesday in North America. So that's going to be a big-time matchup to try to decide that #1, #2 spot. And we'll get to our second match of the day very soon. But first, let's open up a couple more boxes or a couple more packs and see if we can find that legendary.
Absolutely. Remember, guys, you can get these cards at shop.supercell.com. Buy them in a box, buy them by the pack. Get those legendaries. I want a minor.
All right.
I got Fireball, Minions, Gobs, Tesla, Archers, and a Skelly Barrel.
And I have Barbarians, Fire Spirits, the Mortar, the Knight, the E-Barbs. Of course I have. Ooh, these ones have a little foil on them, though. That's exciting.
Still don't
So special edition E-Barbs are the yellow ones, and the Flying Machine.
Let's be honest, Rich. There are no special E-Barbs out there. They are always a pain. Barb Hut, however, a great card. We got the Royal Giant after its new reworking, a Knight, a Mortar, my boy, Fire Spirits. I know you've been in love with those lately. Toxic. And the level 9 Barbarians, still no legendary for me.
Here we go. The last pack for the moment. We'll get more later today. So we have the Bomber, the Spear Goblins, Zap,
If you get a minor.
Skeletons, Purple Archers, and what's the last card here? It's the Inferno Tower. So I'm partway to running that Expo deck. I still have no Expo, though.
Yeah, you got no Expo, and we have no legendaries, but we will get one very soon.
We'll find one at the end of the day, I guarantee it. But first, I guarantee a fantastic match between the current or I guess for a moment, now #2,
Yeah, exactly.
Immortals up against the former #1s in Complexity.
There's no need to fear. More Clash Royale League is here. Next up, the main event. 4th-ranked Complexity Gaming hopes to stop their 4-game skid. But it won't be easy. Immortals are on a roll. And at the top of the table, I've been waiting all week for this one.
A grudge match between the former #1s and the current #1, Colton and Razor, looking to get revenge for that first 2v2 loss against the God RF and Crap, who since that win have been on a 4-1 tear, leading their team to the top of the standings. Our second match of the day, one pretty much every CRL fan has been waiting for. Immortals looking to repeat, make lightning strike twice against the former #1 Complexity.
Yeah, an incredible move in the standings here for Immortals coming out. We got the God RF, Crap, Oh Yeah, and Royal, who did take that first win away from Complexity and Complexity's roster, of course. We got El Jefe, Razor, Adrian, Piedra, and Colton.
They have been fantastic on the front end. A little bit of rough going here on the back end, but still at 6-4 in a great spot for the playoffs. And one man wants to make sure his team has a shot at the World Finals. Colton is standing by with Christy St. John.
Thanks, guys. So, Colton, you have lost the last 4 matches, the first one to Immortals, and some people are saying that you're on a tilt. What would you respond to that?
I mean, a big part of it was that we had 3 back-to-back matches, like one day after another. So it's hard to prepare for those, but also, we just didn't have time to implement and like practice the things we wanted to do. So I think we've done that since then, and I think we're ready for sure.
Well, the change in this game being that you've had a week to prepare for Immortals and a week with a new balance update. How's your strategy changed?
Yeah. I mean, the balance didn't change too much. There's a couple cards that are stronger. So yeah, I guess we'll be using those if we think it fits our strategy. And then, I think we're well prepared, so.
I have to ask you specifically, the Royal Giant buff is kind of what everyone's talking about. As a 2v2 specialist, how has it changed that game?
It was already strong in 2v2. I don't know if I like it that much in 1v1, but maybe in 2v2 we could use it. We'll have to see.
Interesting. We'll see. Well, thanks so much for talking to me. Back to you guys.
Thanks, Christy. It's grudge matches all around. Colton Razor wanting to get back that 2v2. Royal wanting to get back that 1v1. Both squads need to prepare both mentally and, of course, their decks and everything else. But right now, they want to get fired up. Let's go inside the war rooms.
Yeah, yeet! All right, boys, let's go. It's game day. Stand over there on the other side of the wall is Immortals, guys. You know what? We're going to go out there. We're going to win. You want to know why? Not only are you guys the best players here, but we're also a team reborn. We had balance changes on Monday, and we've worked too hard not to come out on top today. So for 2v2, Razor, Colton, you guys are going to go out there, kill it. Lava Hound and NATO, the bans, we're expecting that. We're ready. Poppy going in 1v1. We got Mega Minion and P.E.K.K.A. You've been preparing all week for this.
Yeah.
Go do your thing. And before we break it down, Colton wants to say a couple words to us.
Yeah, I just want to remind us that the opinions of others don't matter. First and foremost, the only thing that matters is how we treat each other, how we believe in ourselves, and they're going to hate us when we're losing, and they're going to love us when we win. But yeah, we have to stand up for each other. If one of us falls, another stands up. And Immortals ended our streak. Let's take it back. And in the words of James, let's just freaking win. Colon 3. 1, 2, 3. Complexity.
Hey, boys.
This is going to be very, very simple game plan. Play your best. And do not be worried about the fact that they had a week to prepare. Because it's literally insignificant. There are certain, like there's an infinite combination of cards or whatever. There's not, but there's so many combinations. But realistically, only about 10% of those combinations work effectively unless you're trying to get a super snipe. So, and that's just a coin. That's a coin toss at that point. So literally, they could have had 100 days to prepare for this match. It doesn't change anything. After a couple of days, it's all the same, and it comes down to mechanical skill. It's 2v2. It's 16 cards. It's less polarizing than an 8-card against 8-card matchup. You guys can if you guys don't have the worst starting hand in the world, you guys can outplay pretty much any matchup. So let's do it. Let's get business done.
Like the Golem, Colton W83 and Raza are steadily marching to the most 2v2 wins in North America. But honestly, our crap and the God RF don't care. They told me so. Those sound like fighting words. Let's do the 2v2!
A big-time rematch here in CRL. The last time these two squads faced off, it was Crap and Royal giving their opponents their first loss.
Yeah, Razor and Colton W83, as Rich said, taking their first loss from Immortals. It was based off of a missed rocket and a pulled golem with the tornado. They are coming back with a vengeance. Razor and Colton are 8-2 overall in 2v2 sets, and their opponents, Crap and the God RF, coming out again for Immortals, 7-3 overall. And as we've said many times already, these were the first two to dethrone the wall.
These really are two of the best duos in 2v2 across all of CRL. Let's take a look at the ban cards active for all potentially 3 games, Tornado and Lava Hound.
Yeah, I mean, I honestly wouldn't have been surprised if these were the two cards that were banned the very first time that these two met. The Tornado and the Lava Hound have proved to be such a menace in 2v2. The Lava Hound getting taken out of equation means that Miner won't be tanking for those pups today.
So here we go. It's going to be Complexity trying to get revenge in 2v2.
Let's go, boys.
Immortals, Crap, and the God RF at the top of your screen. At the bottom, Colton and Razor.
And despite not having that Lava Hound, we do see 4 Miners. Miners being banned earlier today in matches over in the EU, being such a powerful card and such a menace in 2v2, chipping away. We found that Miner damage chipping away can be the biggest deciding factor in a game.
Miner's always difficult to contend with. Definitely an early legendary you encounter, I think, in Arena 4.
I don't remember, honestly, but I do remember one. I think that sounds right. I do remember once I got it, it was quickly my favorite card in the game.
A nicely placed Fireball.
I was going to say, which is why I want that Miner card so badly.
So here we are, first minute down. Not a lot of work done so far. Both squads just feeling each other out.
And you figure with these two squads, it's going to be very, very patient and a lot of heads-up play, a lot of adjustments, and really, it might feel like someone may have a lead at some point in this game. You never know till that clock hits 0 with these 4 players. And an early King Tower activation, not what Complexity wanted.
Although with those Royal Hogs splitting all over the place, it's not as dangerous if they are running a single Hog, although we haven't seen a ton of just Hog Rider here in 2v2.
Yeah, we really haven't seen much. What we have seen are kind of like off-meta, you know, somewhat resemblant of that 2.6 Hog Rider deck coming from both players, but it hasn't been very successful. And I think what it is once you get into double elixir, if your opponent is running that beatdown style deck and they figure out a way to defend against your hog pushes, you're kind of just running into a wall over and over.
And as we enter into double elixir time, things are still pretty close. The lowest tower belongs to Colton and Razor, but they do have dual lane pressure going against their opponents.
Yep, and that King Tower activation is playing a larger part than, I mean, not larger than anyone thought, but just doing more damage than Complexity would like it to, taking out those hogs just a little quicker, providing a little more defensive response for Immortals.
Well, sometimes you forget, Andrew, that it's not just one King Cannon, it's two King Cannons.
Yes, and then with that damage buff that it got recently, it's just a lot to deal with.
So both squads making the push on that left-hand lane. The Fireball trying to clear stuff out, but that cannon, especially with the support it has right now, starting to do some great defensive play.
Yes, and Complexity is slowly losing this race. With 10 seconds left, they need to do a lot of damage, and Immortals got to decide right now whether they're going to go all in on defense, which they're doing, and I think that is the correct choice because Complexity doesn't have a spell in hand. They need to catch another miner. 2-1, and that is it.
Oh
wow.
My gosh, that miner didn't get picked up, but that, you know, you said it right out the gate, and I was like, with the Royal Hogs, not as big of a deal, but it was the King Tower activation that ended up saving Immortals in the last seconds of that game.
Yeah, and it was an odd activation. I actually didn't even see the moment when it was, or what caused the activation. I did see the King waking up, though, and that ended up being so big throughout, that King Tower providing just a little bit extra defense, and you see right here throughout the game, Immortals was just kind of winning the race. You look down at the screen, we're at 200 on the bottom, 600 at the top, very, very close. However, that little bit of damage meant a lot at the end. You look at their hands, no elixir, no spells in hand.
So it is Immortals taking the first game of this rematch, and as you're pointing out to me, Andrew, that no building elixir spent.
And they had a cannon in their hands, so that, again, you wonder what happened. Was it a miscommunication, or was it made on purpose? Was this a choice they made out on purpose?
Nice. So yeah, like a P.E.K.K.A control deck? Yeah. That might be
Game number 2 underway. Now, Andrew, even with the 4 match losses for Complexity, Colton and Razor are still 8-2 overall in 2v2 sets with a win rate of 17 wins, 5 losses, and 1 draw.
Yeah, I mean...
Or 6 losses now.
Yeah, their synergy and communication as a team is almost unheralded. It's crazy to think that Immortals actually is now almost a better 2v2 pair. It's 7-3 over 8-2, but they've taken the win over Colton and Razor, which is not something many people have done.
And take a look at this, Andrew, bottom left half of your screen.
Yes, I see it. I see him there, and who better to do it than Complexity?
An interesting position in which to do it down a game, so maybe they know something we don't. So we will see how this plays out.
And you got to think that Lightning just barely missed that flying machine from Immortals, probably wanting to pick up all 3 of those units.
And it's the Goblin Giant. Now we have seen all but one of the recently buffed cards, the Goblin Giant now at plus 6% to its total hit point pool. Still have yet to see a bomb tower.
We're just dying to see that bomb tower here at CRL. I truly don't believe it's going to happen. And a freeze coming out with that Goblin Giant. This is a very interesting new thing that we have not seen yet. And a good amount of damage, but a lot of elixir spent.
Although a lot of these troops coming down the right-hand lane are in pretty dire health, so we should see them cleaned up, although if those guards don't get back up there, that P.E.K.K.A could get a swing, and they get there just in time.
Just in time, and the miner going to the back of the tower. Great job from Immortals trying to make Complexity miss, but Complexity playing great defense.
So we are entering the final minute, going into our double elixir time, and it is Immortals with the lead on both sides. That dual lane pressure working out very well so far.
Yeah, and I'm very, very curious to see this next push coming down. It's probably going to be the Goblin Giant coming out at some point again. And it's what I think is so interesting about the deck composition, excuse me, of Complexity is that it looks like they have a Golem-style deck, but then it's a Goblin Giant instead.
So maybe the 2 Elixir savings, they have plans for how it's supposed to work, but so far, all the plans bouncing the way of Immortals, Awcraft, and the God RF.
Yeah, we've got 1234 on the bottom left there, a push going into the wrong tower for Complexity, and that P.E.K.K.A. just not getting to the tower.
So close, and you could see Colton and Razor just bouncing that Mega Minion over and over. Please, please, please be ready. Please be ready.
And there's the type of lightning they want, cleaning up all 3 troops and allowing that Prince to get 2 hits in. That was massive. And now we're going Goblin Giant plus Graveyard. This is an interesting combo.
But they don't have something picking up the miner, so now, oh my gosh, this is a race here.
It is going to be, wow! I love it. I love it. There it is. There's the use. It's the Goblin Giant paired with the Graveyard. You got a tank that can shoot at the area units, and plus you got 2 healthy Spear Goblins, and you see the bench of Complexity very excited saying, hey, it worked out. Look at that.
Wow. Wow, that was just, you're sitting there seeing they're not picking up the miner, they're going all in. And those are the kind of plays that have put Colton and Razor where they are right now. Going all in, taking big moment risks, but knowing that they have the ability to finish.
Yes, and here's a great heads-up play from Immortals, getting that lightning in, getting the Witch out of the way, and allowing that Prince to get to tower. However, when it looked like they'd finally wrapped it up, that Goblin Giant coming right down, Fireball goes in on the tower, definitely an overcommitment from Immortals, not paying any attention to defense, and you've got this Goblin Giant walking to the tower, Spear Goblins throwing spears at it, Skellies around, and you know what? Immortals just acknowledge, good game. You played better than us in that last 10 seconds.
So there we go. Goblin Giant now potentially making its stamp on the 2v2 meta. And that 2 extra Elixir potentially to do more support or more defense might have been huge there for Complexity.
Hey, nothing we can do.
Let's go.
Game number 3, the swing game, about to get underway. And Andrew, I know that was 2v2. But now I'm itching to go home and try a Goblin Giant Graveyard deck.
Oh, 100%. Seeing how well it worked out. I mean, obviously 2 very expensive cards, but that was a very, very interesting bit of synergy in that deck that, that's one of the things you love about Complexity.
So Miners getting on that right-hand tower consistently. Magic Archer in response. And now both squads going Miner to tap.
Yeah, we're seeing pretty similar deck makeups here. We've got P.E.K.K.A.s in both hands. I haven't seen Royal Hogs on the top of the screen yet, but I see it on the bottom. And that cannon, once again, in the hands of the God RF, is just better utilized by their team than the buildings by Complexity. They lost that, and there we see some more. They lost that first game, I believe, because they didn't play their cannon.
So both squads preparing to go up against beatdown decks, neither one really encountering. You gotta wonder if Awcraft and the God RF wish they had that P.E.K.K.A. back for that Goblin Giant Graveyard deck.
Yeah, you wonder. And now with a double Royal Hog push down the right lane, great defense from Immortals, cleaning almost all of that up, and a lot of Elixir spent by Complexity. Wow, but that P.E.K.K.A. does get on tower, and that is a ton of damage. Dark Goblin still healthy, taking down the Prince. And that was just a missed defense by Immortals, and they are definitely going to pay for it. That's a lot of damage to try to get back from Colton and Razor.
So now between the last 2 Magic Archers played by Colton and Razor, each one has stayed on the board around 16 to 18 seconds compared to about 5 or 6 from Immortals when they've played their Magic Archer. And we're seeing some of that difference, not just on getting tower damage, but more importantly, cleaning up troops in the middle of the game.
Yeah, I mean, that's a 10-second differential in time for a card that fires at a rapid rate, doing an incredible amount of piercing damage, just really, really exponentially increasing its Elixir advantage by staying on the board.
Well, we've seen Complexity defend that Magic Archer today using the log, using other techniques to keep it alive. So the big question now is, can they defend here on this right-hand tower while they get the left one down? So the Magic Archer doing its job one more time. 22 seconds left. for Complexity to hold strong and try to get revenge here in 2v2.
Yeah, and that's a lot of damage that needs to come down on that right-hand tower for Complexity. However, the Magic Archer getting through, getting a couple shots in, helping even it out. But with 8 seconds left, there's just no way. And Complexity's Colton and Razor stealing their set back after losing the very first, their very first 2v2 set to Immortals weeks ago.
So that has to feel good. Again, Super Week or the Royale Rumble, whatever you want to call it, was very difficult for Complexity, having to re-upload over and over and over again. And here a bit more preparation, a moment going their way, and we have Complexity getting back in the win column here in 2v2 against the guys who started their downfall.
Yeah, it was kind of hard to feel bad for Complexity last week playing back-to-back because they were playing so well. They were such a powerhouse team, but then you see them take 4 losses in a row, and you realize that scheduling can get to anybody. So now with a week on break, a week off to recoup and study their opponents, they bounce back hard, and they take that 2v2 set.
So a big-time win here in 2v2, and as we were saying before, the amount of time those Magic Archers spent on, of course, a card being on the board longer, but you saw that difference where the Magic Archers for Immortals were on for maybe 4 or 5 seconds. They were getting to 15, 18. I think I saw one up there for about 20 seconds.
And any card on the board for 20 seconds other than like an Elixir Pump or a Golem is like getting way, way too much value.
And now another grudge match here in 1v1. Last time, it was Adrian Piedra getting the better of Royal. Royal wanting to get one back and send this thing to King of the Hill.
The 1v1 showdown is here. Prepare for an epic battle between 2 legends, the Aztec Eagle, Adrian Piedra, and Royal. Hey, Royal, you need a new nickname, man. Just saying. Let's do this thing in the arena!
1v1 on its way. Last time, it was Adrian Piedra coming from behind with the reverse sweep. Royal, though, since then, has been on a pretty nasty tear here in CRL.
Absolutely. Adrian Piedra coming out, he started the season with a bit of struggles, then hit his stride, and now is back in trying to find his rhythm once again. He's 4-6 overall in 1v1 sets and 12-14 overall in 1v1 games. And then you got Royal on the other side of it, who has really, really established himself as one of the most dominant 1v1 players in the league. 8-2 in 1v1 sets, Rich.
Not just in the league, but in the world with that number 2 finish on the global ladder. So fantastic play by him as of late. Let's look at the ban choices made for all potentially 3 games. And very interesting as a pair, Mega Minion and P.E.K.K.A.
Yeah, we've seen Mega Minion banned more and more. It just fits into so many decks, whether it's Graveyard or Lava Loon. It's even popped into certain Golem decks. And then, of course, you've got the P.E.K.K.A. Just get her out of the way.
Let's go, Poppy.
Go, Adrian.
Go, Adrian.
It's the rematch, and Royal and Adrian both coming out with their own fair share of emotes.
I'm very excited right now, Rich. I mean, all the things that have gone on over the last several weeks here at CRL, and these are 2 of the hottest names on the ticket. And to see them going head-to-head, it's just so exciting.
Royal with a fantastic overall head-to-head win rate of 19 wins, only 8 losses, and 1 draw.
Adrian Piedra making himself laugh, looking to reach that emote limit. Yes, guys, there is an emote limit, and you can hit it.
I never have, but many of my opponents do all the time.
And it's always a good choice, guys. If you have a Dark Prince in your hand as an opening card, you don't have another great opening card, just drop your Dark Prince, let it go down the lane, and feel free to sacrifice it. It's only 4 elixir, and it demands a great response. So probably going to see Giant Double Prince here from Royal, and then most likely from Adrian, that Graveyard deck with the Cannon card.
Royal has run Giant Double Prince before against Adrian Piedra specifically in the 3rd game of their 1v1 set, and it was Adrian Piedra who came out on top running that Prince Rascal bait deck.
Yeah, one thing that is kind of surprising about Adrian and his versatility deck-wise is that he hasn't really run Graveyard much at all here at CRL.
So we will see what this Graveyard deck looks like in his hands.
And we're also going to see how he plays his defense right now. You got to imagine that Ice Wizard is going to come back out of rotation as soon as possible. He's probably going to have a Tornado eventually that's going to make these pushes very, very difficult for Adrian to break through.
So we haven't seen the last 2 cards of Royal's deck yet. Poison obviously being a great response to Eno. Wow.
And a straight miss NATO, and you see the look on his face. Honestly, not the worst case scenario for the miss NATO. Wasn't pulling something like a Prince away from the tower, but definitely not what he wanted to happen there.
But now that we're seeing the full makeup pretty much of Royal's deck, graveyard responses, you have Poison, you have Minions, and even as a backup, you have the E-Wiz and the Dark Prince.
Absolutely, man. There are so many great responses there, none of which Adrian is probably happy to see. And then, of course, you've got this incredibly beefy push coming down the lane with your Princes and your Giant. Luckily for him, he has an incredible defense window here, but it's going to be really hard for him to get any damage on Royal's towers.
And Giant becomes so much more viable when you have a ban like P.E.K.K.A. That is a hard counter card that you don't have to worry about.
Yeah, and here we go, that great combination of the NATO and the Baby Dragon. You see a ton of damage coming down on Royal's tower, him kind of leaking one elixir to kind of decide, what do I do right now? Do I respond to it? Can I take the damage? Do I want to reset with my Giant? And you see this Electro Wiz is basically kind of a lamb off to the sacrifice.
And Adrian's still doing very well from an elixir standpoint as well, so it's not like he fell behind to get that damage.
Yeah, he's playing this very, very well.
Other than that missed Tornado, this is some of the better play we've seen out of Adrian this season.
And you got to imagine that Tornado's about to come in right now. He does not want that Giant to connect to the tower because he needs, or excuse me, to the Tombstone because he needs the Princes to be distracted by it.
So talking about Adrian's defensive responses here, we've sort of seen what he's planned start to pull out here against this Giant double Prince deck.
Yeah, and then as for Royal, it kind of seems like he's at a loss of how to break through. I don't think he really sees a great opportunity. He can't counter-push the opposite lane. You know, there's that Tombstone in the middle, and that NATO can pull all the troops to the center. He's doing a wonderful job of protecting his Tombstone, so Royal just kind of, I think, knows he's lost his first game due to matchup.
So despite having such fantastic responses in theory to Graveyard, Royal is very, very far behind at this juncture, just 2 poisons away from losing the first game.
Just so many cheap defensive responses, Rich. I mean, you get that Ice Wizard down and the Tombstone with the Cannon Cart. You use a Tornado to reset all of it, and you've all of a sudden taken a huge elixir advantage because the Prince costs 5, the Dark Prince costs 4, the Giant costs 5.
It is a very heavy push to create for these Giant double Prince decks.
And he doesn't even need to use it, but he had a Tornado back in hand right there. And he knows it, pounding on the desk. He can feel it. He can feel victory at the gates. He needs to beat Immortals. They're in the #1 spot right now, and they took the first game of them on the season, Rich.
Very big win there for Adrian Piedra. Now putting his team in a very good position to secure, or at least help secure, their spot in the playoffs.
And you love Adrian's focus, and then you love seeing him hop out of the game, and you see the excitement on his face, the Aztec Eagle, and this is that very first NATO that brought all that stuff together. The Prince stays in position because it's poking at all those skeletons, while the Baby Dragon just compiles that damage so much on the tower. And then here you see, once again, Rich, incredible, incredible defense. Just not any way for Royal to break through. I'm actually even shocked he got the tower down to 1,000 HP.
Really fascinating because, again, you look at the beginning, you think this Graveyard deck is not going to get work done on this tower, but between the fact that his opponent couldn't push through and the use of the Tornado to pull some of those those defensive troops back towards the tower, it's Adrian Piedra coming out on top.
Yeah, so let's see if Adrian gets the matchup advantage once again here in game number 2.
Go, Adrian!
Complexity's bench pumped at the performance of their teammate, Adrian Piedra, trying to break a 3-set losing streak to CLG, TSM, and Cloud9 in 1v1.
And that's one thing you got to give credit to the coaching staff of Complexity, never ever giving up on Adrian, despite, like I said, a rough start, hitting his stride in the middle of the season, and now, again, hitting a little bit of difficulty towards the end. They will never give up on their boy.
And that Barb getting on tower, so 2 elixir reasonably well spent.
Adrian dishing the BMs out, recognizing they're probably going to both be playing Graveyard right now. And I don't know if that wow is because he's running a deck variation that he thinks is inferior to his own, or one that he thinks is superior to his own.
Or if it's the total mirror, as it might be developing.
Which it might be, exactly.
And Two baby dragons logging burps at each other. This one will not get any damage on tower and does leave the tombstone untouched.
So now you wonder if Royal does place a tombstone. Actually, he'll probably wait till Adrian commits to a tower. And then you got to imagine both these guys, once they recognize their opponent's committal to a tower, they're going to start placing that tombstone behind it.
And that time the tombstone does pick up the Barbarian with those skeletons, so not as much value out of that 2 elixir spent this time, but with a minute and a half already played, Royal's towers still in perfect condition.
And you can tell both these guys are really holding off the commitment to one side or the other. They're obviously going to stack one lane and try to break through, but there's a reason why the tombstones are still being played in the center of the map.
So we'll be curious to see how someone breaks out. I mean, they both have lots of answers defensively and offensively, and with as little has been done so far, I'm wondering if this early turns into a potential draw.
Yeah, and that was a nice high cannon cart from Adrian, recognizing that the Graveyard was going to come in from Royal, mitigating most all the damage. Not 100% of it, but a great amount.
So far, it is Royal, though, out the lead of about 700 hit points, and now extending that on the left-hand side, opting to not save his poison for defense.
Yes, and that's exactly what I was saying earlier, Rich, is once they've committed to a tower, now you want to put the tombstone behind it to bait out the poison, because you need to get that tombstone out of the way, or else your Graveyard's damage is going to mostly be mitigated by it, right? So you get the tombstone down, and that demands your opponent to place their poison, which in turn is their best response to your Graveyard. It's really a beautiful synergy in the deck.
So the poison now from Adrian Piedra using to stop the Graveyard damage, but it will not stop all of it. And, you know, we still have 3 minutes to play. Royal's towers are both completely untouched, and he has his opponents down almost to the halfway mark.
Yeah, and if we know anything about Royal, it's that he's never going to give up to the last second, and he still sees that this is a game that he can take.
So now this is dangerous here with the Graveyard now supported. Finally some damage. And this is not insignificant, even with the poison down.
Wow, that is a great amount of damage, almost evening this game up. A surprising amount, honestly, from Adrian.
Especially with that poison down.
Yeah, I was very kind of surprised.
So maybe the poison might have been a bit high, not placed as effectively on the Graveyard circle as possible.
Yeah, you always want to place your poison exactly how Adrian does here. It's covering the ground of the skeletons walking towards the tower. It's not about the ground covered by the Graveyard. It's about the area surrounding your Princess Tower and making sure that the skeletons will be in that poison for at least a second.
2 minutes remaining in sudden death overtime. Royal still out to a lead, but needs to be very careful here. A Graveyard deck can change things in an instant, even if you're playing Mirror.
Yeah, and you never want to play for a draw, but honestly, if I'm Adrian Piedra right now, seeing that my tower's below 1,000 health, I'm going to just try to play out for a draw. I do not want to lose this based off of a misplayed defense or an over-aggressive offense to try to steal the game that I don't deserve to win at this point.
That's a very nice poison, taking care of the Ice Wiz, the Tombstone, and doing a lot of tower damage.
And that Baby Dragon not getting close enough to tank for the Graveyard is going to make it so much less effective for Adrian. And once again, with about 90 seconds left in this game, if I'm Adrian, I need to play D.
And the Cannon Cart forcing the Barbarian Barrel out at the top. So with the poison and the Graveyard here, looking like a lot more damage as we enter into the final minute. It's a question of Royal pushing the action, and can Adrian avoid that damage? Down to 484, though, getting into spell cycle range.
And now you see Adrian opting out of using the Graveyard, knowing that he needs to spend all of his elixir for the next 60 seconds on defense and defense only. And again, sometimes the best defense is offense, because Royal has to respond to that Graveyard, because if you leave a Graveyard uncontested, it can get an obscene amount of damage. And Royal, in turn, is going to do the exact same thing.
Royal does have a lot of elixir to work for here, so now down to 350. Another skeleton hit or two could put this in real danger. And now we're down into poison range. Royal needs to defend well, cycle quickly, and get that poison back on that tower.
Yeah, and a well played coming out, knowing that this game was too close for comfort. Adrian Piedra getting away with one. Is he going to get back to the poison? Royal does, and there it is. 8 seconds, just enough time. Gets through the cycle, plays good enough defense, and throws a quick dab in from our friend the Wizard.
New emote OP here in the final moments. Royal very happy to get that one back. Last time, he was the one who got reverse swept, hoping to do it himself here against Adrian Piedra.
Yeah, and it looked like Adrian was going to try to play for the draw there, and I do wonder if that graveyard as an offense and a defense might have been just a little bit too much of an overcommitment. Maybe he should have wasted or spent all of his elixir on defense, and then this is basically the very end of the match. You see he's doing everything he can to defend. The barrel comes in late. Royal gets the poison down, and he nods. He knows I can get back around in the next 30 seconds. Back to that poison. This game is mine, friend.
So we are all even now in 1v1 Royal with a shot, with a chance to send this thing to King of the Hill. A win here would clinch a playoff spot for Immortals.
Absolutely, and that would be a reverse of both the sets. 2v2 going to Complexity, 1v1 going to Royal. Let's see what happens.
Let's go, Adrian. Let's go, Adrian. You got this, Poppy.
Game number 3, the swing game of 1v1 Complexity. Also in an important spot, a win here would not clinch playoffs, but with the two closest teams being TSM and CLG. CLG could only draw with season records at best, and TSM at 5-6 would need to win 2 games to have 7 wins, 3 to surpass them.
And that's a tall order with the last few weeks coming up. Every team fighting harder than they ever have. The stakes higher than they've ever been. Emotions higher than they've ever been here too at CRL, Rich.
So it looks like Adrian going the same thing one more time and possibly Royal as well. So the new head-to-head meta in Clash Royale, especially in CRL, has become this specific graveyard deck.
Yep, and that is a very, very nice poison. A ton of value for Adrian coming in, getting the cannon card out of the way. Great start.
Your ban cards one more time, the Mega Minion and the P.E.K.K.A.
And, you know, the Mega Minion is a card that you normally see a lot in graveyard decks. It is tanky. It is just tanky enough. It avoids the ground responses. And this is going to be a nice push for Royal.
Very nice push indeed. A lot of damage from those skeletons and the Baby Dragon, using that tornado to get damage on the tower. So we have seen this so many times now with this deck, that technique of drawing the defensive troops into Baby Dragon splash damage range to get tower bonus.
And a little chuckle there from Adrian. You wonder if it's because he realizes that he misplayed that defense or if it's because he was laughing at the dab. And Rich, you and I both had a conversation this morning about how we tried to convince ourselves that we weren't going to buy those emotes
tried so
the
hard.
moment that we saw them. But at 6 a.m. this morning, we both did.
Tried so hard. For me, it's the flame going out. That's the one that I couldn't not get.
The emotes are fantastic. Oh, and a great graveyard in here, getting a ton of value. Royal recognizes it, and that Ice Wizard's health is completely negligible. Adrian can let it walk down the lane.
So we are now in double elixir time in this swing match. Remember, Complexity has one, Immortals has one. Royal right now trying to send his squad to King of the Hill. Adrian Piedra trying to close this thing out and get his team back in the win column.
These two athletes are in a slugfest right now. You look at this and they're just going to town on each other's towers on the opposite sides of the map. But right now, Adrian with just a slight edge over Royal.
So a different makeup this time around than game number 2, where instead of going same lane, they are going opposite lane here. And it does spread yourself a little bit more thin and I think requires some more difficult decision making.
Absolutely, which is why you see both of these towers at lower health, and you see that little bit of allocated damage on the left tower of Royal there, and you wonder if that's actually going to end up coming into play. Probably not. This would probably be a single tower game.
So a lot of defense on that left-hand side for Adrian Piedra, wondering if he has enough to really make an offensive push here on the right-hand side.
And that tombstone being up high, you wonder if that is going to come back and bite Royal because, nope, he played great defense stopping it all. I was going to say he can NATO that Baby Dragon and the Ice Wiz on top of that cannon cart, and that should be a ton of damage. Oh, and he's going to miss that. Oh, wow. A last-second tombstone.
Whew. But that cannon cart tanking for the graveyard, so now a couple shots from those skeletons. This poison isn't quite going to be enough, but Royal now in a position to cycle back and close this thing out as long as he makes no big mistakes here.
And here's the moment for Adrian, recognizing this is his last-ditch effort. He's got to play incredible defense. He gets the NATO in, and that Baby Dragon's on the tower, but it's not going to be enough. Royal back around, going to take this set from Adrian. So now we've got both the sets going opposite of the first, Rich. Complexity taking the 2v2 today, and Royal taking the 1v1.
It's Game of Thrones here with the revenge on the revenge on the revenge. Of course, I never saw Jon Snow dab, but maybe we'll see that in the final season.
And an early graveyard here coming in from Royal, coupled with the tornado. A lot of damage very early in this third game, and Adrian was just really never able to recover from it. And right here, just unfortunate timing. They dropped the cannon cards at the exact same moment. Adrian's is out of range of Royals, and Royals gets that tank in for the graveyard, taking this third game and pushing it to King of the Hill.
Huge moment. Royal coming out on top in the second of 2 mirror matches, and now getting the reverse sweep, just like his opponent did last time. So what better way to end our day, what better way to end our week here in CRL than with 2 of the top teams in North America going to King of the Hill. Of course, they each nominate 3 players. Each player gets 1 life. The first to eliminate all 3 takes the set and takes the match victory. New card bans, new lineups. Let's get ready inside the war rooms.
All right, boys, I'm gonna keep this nice and short. We came out here to complete a mission, and gosh darn it, we're not leaving here until we complete that mission. King of the Hill, we're gonna make the most original lineup we've ever made before. We're gonna start with Coltown, then we got Razor, and then we got my man, Poppy, over here. All right, boys.
All right.
Let's do it. Let's get this win. Let's get out of here with that dub. Complexity on 3, complexity on me. 1, 2, 3, complexity!
How are you feeling? All of you.
Good.
Like, how are you feeling right now?
Good.
Are you calm? Do you remember what happened last time you played them? Who was a better player?
Me.
Absolutely. Do you think something's changed from that? No, right? It's a new meta for both of you. Like, nothing's changed. You're still practicing. Same team. You just destroyed a guy that practiced a matchup 100 times and literally couldn't beat you. You played that deck, what, 5 times?
Yeah, kinda.
So I need you guys to go in there and just be confident in your ability to win and just play super calm. Like, just, Daniel, I need you to be relaxed. I mean, you already are. You're like the most relaxed one here. Like, just go out there and just realize that you're the better players.
Someone fetch me the balloon, for I want a good view of this epic finale. Immortals fight to remain at the top of the standings. Complexity battles for a return to the elite. No more talk. To the hill we go.
The last time these 2 teams faced off, it went to the final game, overtime of number 5 here at King of the Hill. Expecting similar fireworks this time.
Absolutely. We got Colton coming out first for Complexity, Razor in that middle spot, who is 6-4 overall on King of the Hill, and of course their 1v1 specialist just coming off a loss in their 1v1 set is Adrian Piedra, and coming out first for Immortals is the God RF, 4-3 overall on King of the Hill, followed by Oh Yeah, and of course Royal, who just took that 1v1 set from Adrian.
Our ban cards here for all potential 5 games, P.E.K.K.A. and the Electro Wizard.
Yeah, both these cards popping up more in the last week. You think some of it's got to be with that giant double prince. Some of it has to be with Sam's OP deck that's been played in the meta.
It was back and forth last time. RF taking 2. Adrian Piedra nearly sweeping. Royal finishing it off. Let's see what happens this time.
Go Colton.
Immortals got RF top of your screen, Colton for Complexity at the bottom. And we've talked about how Complexity's kept the same roster all season, not just in 2v2, not just in 1v1, but in every King of the Hill, it has been Colton, Razor, Adrian Piedra.
Yeah, you almost wonder if it's a bit stubborn on the side of Complexity, having another roster spot. Colton at 1-6 overall in King of the Hill, 1-6 in head-to-head. You wonder if there's a better player on their roster to fill that spot.
I mean, it's hard to say that, though. Colton has been so fantastic throughout his Clash Royale history, having some trouble spots here, definitely some hard counters he's run into here in CRL. So, you know, it's how do you bench a guy like that in this situation?
You know, totally. And Complexity is from day one stuck with their roster, and they love their players, and they give them multiple opportunities, even if they're having a rough little spot. We've seen them do that with Adrian time and time again. However, with 4 losses in a row and that playoff push right now, you gotta hope Colton comes out with something a bit different today.
So for Immortals, this is the same King of the Hill lineup they used in week 6 against Energy. It was the God RF, Oh Yeah, taking a game in the middle, and then Royal closing things out.
Yeah, and it felt like that was just a slightly missed Royal Ghost by Colton, allowing that first one to get by. Not a ton of damage, but now at a deficit.
Royal Hogs splitting at the river. The God RF last time out in King of the Hill took down 2 of the players, Colton and Razor, before falling to Adrian Piedra.
And a bit of a standstill right now. Both these guys feeling each other out. Very similar deck makeups, but obviously some differences.
Very similar. Last time it was not so similar. It was Colton running 3 Musketeers and Hog Rider against the God RF running a giant double Prince deck. He won a very close match by just 518 hit points when he took advantage of a Hunter played out of cycle to drop a giant at the river to close things out.
And now you see the 3 Musketeers coming back down for Colton. These Hogs right in front of it, providing a ton of defense. And that Fireball missing that 1 Musketeer. We'll see if that ends up being a trouble. No, nope. Looks like he's going to be okay. That Ghost going back invisible.
So as we are halfway through double elixir time, getting closer to sudden death, it is the God RF with a slight lead here so far.
Yeah, and the Fireball as opposed to the Poison gives, I think, the God RF just a slight edge in the sense that he can poison, or he can Fireball log if he catches all 3 Musketeers quick enough, whereas Colton has to deal with the poisoning of the 2.
So looking at Colton's deck, one other big question here as we get into our overtime and potentially a spell cycle situation at some point, do you think having the Barbarian Barrel in there instead of the log puts him at a disadvantage?
It is such a small amount of damage, but we've seen games lost by less than 20 HP. We've seen many lost by 11 HP. The log doing, you know, a good amount of damage at 84, I believe. Yes, 84 is exactly, you know, that's a big difference, Rich.
Especially if we do get into a place where they're trying to spell cycle out and win on a lowest tower situation.
Yes, and that's always how it goes here in King of the Hill. That Barb Barrel coming in, tanking for that Musketeer. Great job there. And just 1 Muskie shot gets through.
So every single swing is going to count huge here as the first minute of overtime goes down. It is Colton out to a slight lead, and with that Poison extending that lead, he's going to force the God RF to start making some moves.
And these are basically almost 3 essential mirror matchups in a row. The last 2 in the 1v1 set, and now the first in King of the Hill. Very interesting to see both these teams coming out with such similar decks.
A somewhat risky 3 Musketeers play here from Colton.
And it kind of pays off. You know, he ends up cleaning up everything, but none of them survive.
So here's a question for you, Andrew. With us being in a potential lowest tower situation, do you think that 3 Musketeers was an intentional fireball bait to open up a lane for the Royal Hogs?
That's a very interesting point. It could have been, however, did not end up baiting out the fireball from the God RF, but still did an absurd amount of damage for him. Or to him, I should say, for Colton. Because now we're in a position that, you know, the God RF has to feel like he's got to take this first game because a lowest tower situation, 1,000 damage deficit is huge.
He has to make some moves here, and right now doing his best to hold on, but Colton really putting the pressure on here in the waning moments.
And once again, a really great defense turned into offense played by Colton on the right side of your map, and you see almost no elixir left. He does have the fireball. Wow, okay.
But still a couple of big-time hits on that left-hand tower.
Yeah, and that's a 1,300 damage difference at this point now with 40 seconds left, essentially. It feels like this has just slipped out of the God RF's fingers.
So getting those 3 Musketeers at the river, now kind of a desperation play, trying to put pressure on, find an opening. He has to do a lot of damage very quick. It's the Royal Hogs on the left-hand side. No fireball to stop them, though, so they will get some damage, just not quite enough. And with 14 seconds left, it looks like it's going to be Colton taking the first game of King of the Hill.
Yeah, really, really great defense there played by Colton throughout the game, and the God RF acknowledges it. Well played, my friend. On to the next one for Colton W83.
So there you have it. Colton getting a very important King of the Hill win at this time in the season. Cannot come at a better time playing against the #1 team in North America. And up next for Immortals, it's going to be the 16-year-old from Downey. Oh, yeah.
Yeah, oh yeah, who's shown up a couple times here in King of the Hill. But first we talk about this replay. You see the split of the Three Musketeers on both sides of the map. And right here is where everything changes. That bar barrel coupled with the Hunter doing such great damage, providing such an efficient defense. Now, in turn, he can create a big counter push. He goes down both lanes, and you see it's just too much for the God RF to hang with.
Colton playing very well. Now against a guy who has appeared in 4 total games here at CRL. Oh, yeah, with a King of the Hill win rate of 1-1, trying to make his name against Colton.
Let's go.
Oh, yeah, tends to play very, very fast decks. We've seen him here go a little bit heavier than his normal play style, but I'm suspecting he might go quickly. He has played a variation of 2.6 Hog on his own account, the 2.2 Hog cycle deck, replacing Fireball, Cannon, and Musketeer with Zap, Mega Minion, and Minions.
Yeah, and he's also known to run that Princess Hog deck, but replacing the regular Hog with the Royal Hogs. Very effective deck. He actually picked up a win in King of the Hill with that deck. Let's see if he can do it again against Colton today.
So far, looking like 2.6 for Oh Yeah. So still going fast, but a bit more traditional.
Yeah, 2.6 Elixir Cycle, a very, very cheap deck. So far, reading exactly that, with the Hog Rider probably being second to last in a Fireball. And now we're going to find out exactly how he's going to defend against the Graveyard.
2.6 is a frustrating deck to play against, Andrew, because just when you think you have it beat, you go, oh, they're out of cycle, I have an opening. It cycles so fast that the card you were trying to beat is back on the board.
Yeah, absolutely. It feels like the moment that you've killed the Hog Rider, it's already back running down the opposite lane, and it switches lanes, and it's a very, very frustrating deck. However, if you do make your opponent make a mistake, it is a very hard deck to bounce back with, especially if you look at the hand of Colton here with the Ice Wizard, with the NATO. It's going to be very, very hard for that Hog to get to tower.
And that really is the only real significant damage that Oh Yeah can put on towers. Yes, he can Fireball Log, but really it's a waste unless you're getting other troop value, and that Musketeer is not going to find her way into shot position very often.
Yeah, every now and then your Hog will be out of cycle as the Musketeer crosses the river, and you'll throw an Ice Golem down in front of her, but really just banking on the Hog Rider and the Hog Rider only in this deck.
Just a reminder, the Musketeer isn't a win condition, so whoever ran that Musketeer mirror cycle deck against me in ladder, what were you doing, man?
Yeah, the Musketeer doing a lot of single target damage, but definitely not a win condition by any means. And the Cannon is always the best response to the Graveyard if you have, or if you are running the 2.6 deck, which Oh Yeah is. It's just you drop the Cannon in the Graveyard, it should do a ton of damage, it'll shoot those skellies very quickly, and all the ones it doesn't shoot, it'll pick up on its body itself.
So we're in double Elixir time, getting closer to sudden death overtime, and Oh Yeah, not doing terribly, only down by a little over, or a little under 100 hit points, now taking a slight lead here in the left-hand lane.
And this is kind of the issue I was talking about with Hog Rider 2.6, is once your opponent's figured out an efficient, effective way to play defense and create counter pushes, you can feel like you've kind of ran into a wall. And so now is the point to see whether or not Oh Yeah is going to be able to adjust, or if he's going to kind of just try the same thing over and over again and make it an easy win out for Colton.
And he has not had the opportunity to go opposite lane here, so he's kind of playing directly into the support pushes of Colton every single time.
Yeah, and that Cannon Cart getting such a high amount of damage, having so much health, very frustrating. Coupled with with the Tornado and the Ice Wizard, just a really uphill battle for Oh Yeah.
And Poison Graveyard down once more, and it just seems like the inevitable right now. Of course, this could be some stuff coming down, so maybe this Hog Rider finds a way through the Fireball. Getting on the Cannon Cart, you almost feel like that Cannon Cart was a bait to keep that Fireball away from the Tombstone.
Yeah, and it was a great job moving the Tombstone around. You never want to place the Tombstone in the same place over and over again, because your opponent is going to recognize and start to pre-Fireball, pre-log, whatever they may have in their hand spell-wise to get it out of the way. That Tombstone is a huge detriment to the Hog pushes, but that swing is devastating.
So this Baby Dragon picking up a couple of shots from the tower. But even with this poison, you know, you still have Oh Yeah in it. And that's one of the healthiest Musketeers we've seen start coming across from defense.
So you know Oh Yeah is going to put together a big push right now, getting that fireball in. He's going to save the log, and yeah, Colton he's like, no, you cannot cross the river right now. I need to keep the pressure up. I cannot have that Hog Rider cross the bridge again. And the Skeletons tanking for the cannon cart is going to be huge.
But again, it's the speed of the 2.6. The Ice Golem getting down just in time to stop the cannon cart. That's not going to be enough, though, at this point. Colton just needs to play some good defense and get another poison down, and that will be GG.
Yep, and the tornado with the baby drag, that's going to do it. A great nado there. Colton feeling it, really excited, hyped on himself, getting another win. He needs this now. He's 3-6 in King of the Hill, which is a very, very good position for him to bounce back from.
Big moment for Colton. And, you know, Complexity's bench is always so pumped and so in the game. But that one, that victory yell felt like it had a little extra on it.
Absolutely, and you know it's because of the struggles that he's had being one of the best players in the entire world. I mean, he was second place at King's Cup. He's just struggled in head-to-head play here despite having an incredible amount of success in that 2v2 set. The whole entire team, the whole room, feeling it.
So walk us through this finish, Andrew. We almost get tower lock from that cannon cart. It gets stopped, but still not enough to stop things.
Yeah, and you got to think it's because that Musketeer gets taken out. Somehow the cannon survives of Colton, just providing a little bit more to deal with than Oh Yeah could. And now Royal has 3 men standing in his way to take this match.
Royal going to do his best here. He has Colton, Razor, and Adrian Piedra in front of him trying to get that sweep. So Colton and Royal did not meet at all in King of the Hill last time, Royal being the closer for his squad, Colton being the opener for his. An interesting pairing of a guy in Colton who many view as one of the top players in the world, and a guy in Royal who very recently has shot up those ranks and kind of into Clash Royale superstardom.
Yeah, and now we're seeing this deck, this new meta, the Furnace coupled with the Royal Giant. We talked about spawners, we talked about bowlers, and now we're seeing Royal, one of the best in the world, try out this new meta.
Can't love seeing that Inferno Dragon. Does he have a way to reset? Doesn't appear so. That could be a problem for him as we get deeper into this game.
And that fireball was devastating. Now you got a healthy Inferno Dragon, you got no elixir, and here you're about to lose another Furnace here. A very good start for Colton.
Well, the Fire Spirit's getting out in time to keep it alive for at least a couple more Fire Spirits to get pumped out, but that Tombstone will stop them from doing much of anything.
Absolutely. So the first attempt with the Royal Giant did not go well for Royal, meeting an Inferno Dragon at the river, so you gotta wonder what he's gonna do this time around. Is he gonna throw Ice Spirits in front of it, or excuse me, Fire Spirits in front of it to try to catch the Inferno Drag? Is he gonna drop the Mega Minion? What is he gonna do?
It doesn't feel like he has any reset tools, especially seeing the log as his 2-cost spell, so needs to find some other way to protect that Royal Giant and get across the river.
And you see the Mega Minion coming down to try to protect it, but not doing its job. Still the Inferno Dragon focusing on the Mega Minion, and Royal's Mega Minion actually took out Colton, so not exactly how he wanted that to go down.
And does he have a way to push that balloon? The lightning, okay, so he does have a way to reset, just a very expensive way to reset.
Yes, absolutely, and that's probably why we didn't see him use it earlier. Single elixir, not a great use of a lightning on just an Inferno Dragon.
And that explains why he's going Royal Giant behind the tower rather than traditionally at the bridge.
Yes. And honestly, it is a better, if you can afford to do it, putting the Royal Giant in the back is the better way to do it, because you can create a push, you kind of see how your opponent's planning to defend it, and then in turn, you can maybe respond. But really right now, Royal's having the hardest time getting this Royal Giant to even focus on the tower, but in double elixir, it allows him to use that lightning.
2 big shots, but of course, in double elixir, this Lava Balloon deck becomes all that more dangerous as well. Although that Furnace is going to be a big part of playing defense here.
Yeah, and coming in just in time to pull that balloon, getting the Fire Spirits out to do just enough damage, and he plays great defense. And now those couple shots from the Royal Giant being the difference maker in this game.
So now we are in sudden death overtime, and it is Royal with the lead of around 600-ish hit points on that left-hand side.
Now, I know 3 minutes is a long time, Rich, but we're also in a position here where Royal having such a good defense and a very good offense. It's going to be a tough one for Colton, but that balloon getting through is huge.
Yeah, big balloon damage on the right-hand side, so now Royal has to still create offense on the left, but defend the opposite lane. And we're going to get into a situation now where I think we will see a tower trade.
Yes, just about who's going to get there first. And now that's huge. Now, wow, I couldn't even speak the words quickly enough. I was like, the lightning's going to come down. The Royal Giant made its way through and just barely squeaking by the skin of his teeth is Royal.
I meant to say tower race, not tower trade. We were in sudden death overtime.
I knew what you meant.
You knew what I meant. Let's see if the chat picks up as well. So here we are in this final tower race, and it's the Royal Giant. It's just getting the tower faster, and that's all it is. That Lava Hound does not have the firepower to win this battle.
Yeah, and Royal recognizing that Lava Hound is out of cycle. That's a lot of elixir allocated. He could drop the Royal Giant right at the river and save the rest of his elixir to get that lightning in, on deck, get it out, get rid of all the buildings in the way, all the troops in the way, get the Royal Giant just to get 2 shots. That's all he needed.
Up next, game number 4 of King of the Hill for complexity. It's the King Killer Razzer.
Let's go, Raz.
Razzer started off the season with that insane run. I can't remember if it was 10-0 or 12-0. It was a lot and and taking out, of course, all 3 members of Cloud9 and King of the Hill, C. McHugh, Baron, and Wings. So he can take people out, and at this moment, there might be no one bigger to beat than Royal.
Yeah, I mean, Royal is a person that has proven he can do it, whether it's in King of the Hill or 1v1, whether the pressure's on or not. He is a very, very skilled and methodical and patient player.
So Royal took a bit of a risk in that first game running the Royal Giant deck with the Furnace. It did pay off for him. Now looking like he's going a bit more traditional for the current meta, and it's Razzer the one throwing the bowler in play.
Yeah, and you think with the bowler, you'd probably think there's going to be your Royal Giant there as well, but honestly, with this new meta, the bowler popping back up to deal with spawning units, we actually don't have a true meta for this deck yet.
Well, seeing Bowler and Miner, we're one big card away from my comfort deck, that Bowler Miner Expo, but I doubt we will see anything like that here.
You know, Rich, I really applaud your ladder climb with that, but not
it's
too far
deck.
off. It is a siege deck, so kind of the same idea as your Expo deck. The bowler getting in front of your siege card, providing a lot of defense, getting all the squishy troops out of the way. Now let's see how this actually works out. This is a very fascinating new deck. We've never seen this type of archetype here at CRL.
Now, I take credit for this personally because I put a challenge to the players early on in the season to win a 12-win Grand Challenge with my Expo Miner Bowler deck. And, of course, it was Firewolf who did it not once but 3 times.
Yeah, and that just shows the skill level of these players.
To use that bad of a deck and win a 12 Grand Challenge. Now, interesting, just from my perspective here, playing a Siege deck with Bowler and Miner, when I played it, I pretended like I was running a Miner control deck until late and then dropped an Expo to take advantage and double elixir time.
Right.
Of course, with the with the Mortar here, it doesn't hit as hard as fast, so a very different play style.
Yeah, and honestly, right now, it does look like Razzer's deck is not doing him any favors, trying to figure out exactly how to get that mortar on the tower, how to defend against the graveyard. And I don't know if you want to call it a matchup thing, but this really does look tough for Razzer.
It's that deceptive penetration by the Miner with this deck construction. So you're playing Mortar Miner, the Bowler, as the extra wrinkle here. And for Royal, trying to make sure that Bowler never gets one extra roll. Whoa, big time over here.
That was a huge NATO. Now evening this game up. We're looking at a tower trade here, probably going to go into overtime unless that barb stops. Wow, this is insane. Fireball's going to come down for Razzer. That is huge.
It.
Wow, that NATO pulling the cannon cart into the opposite lane, resetting the mortar on the tower was the game changer, Rich. It appeared at that moment that he had nothing left in the tank. There was really nothing he could do. But wow, what a crazy, crazy deck.
Bowler Miner Siege is now a thing.
I don't even want to try it. It looks so ugly.
That's so crazy. That is so unbelievably crazy. Wow, Razor with a heads-up play. We'll take a look at the replay here in a moment. And yeah, it was that tornado play, pulling the cannon cart out of the way, and the chutzpah, the confidence to stand and look at that graveyard push in the eye and say, I will beat you to finish this tower off as we moved into sudden death overtime.
Well, you look, he takes so much damage here in the left lane. The cannon cart's still coming down. You get this cannon cart out again. He nados it over to the other side. It resets the mortar, which again, he circulated back around to the mortar again. He cycled to it so quickly, and these Kobe shots, as so many people like to call them, dropping in on that tower, just absolutely insane heads-up play. That is why he is one of the best in the world and why we have deemed him the king killer here at CRL.
Adding one more name to his hit list. So we already have CMQ, Baron, Wings. I believe he swept all of Tribe in their first match, so Oxalate, J Monty, and B-Rad. Yep. And now adding the #2 ladder finisher last season and one of the best heads-up players here, Royal, to that list.
Yeah, and you can see it on Immortals' face. They cannot believe what has just happened. And honestly, that whole 1v1 set was just crazy.
Just unbelievable. I'm tickled pink with what we saw there. It validates a lot of the things that I didn't do great, but he did it fantastically. So it's been a while, but now back in the winner's circle, Razor is sitting down with Christy St. John.
Thanks, guys. I mean, Razor, a 2v2 win and the final King of the Hill game. How's it feel?
It feels amazing. The game, like, when you're playing, it just goes by in an instant. Like, I was in it, and then it was over. It was amazing, though.
Well, we got to talk about the end of it. That NATO play, was that planned ahead of time or just in the moment?
Well, I didn't NATO for my mortar to lock on because I really wasn't paying attention. I NATO'd it because it killed everything I had over there, like my bowler and Ice Wiz. I knew it'd just kill it, so I wanted to NATO it away from there, and it worked out, so I'm going to call it calculated.
Great. Well, a little bit of skill, a little bit of luck, definitely what this game needs. And you had 2 surprises today. Tell me about that Goblin Giant Graveyard pairing in the 2v2.
In the 2v2, the Goblin Giant's interesting. It's pretty weak, but it's really fast. So we paired it in Graveyard so it could just go for it, and you'd have to answer it, and you'd have to answer the Graveyard. So it was like a two-hit combo.
I mean, amazing calculated plays, amazing luck. Thanks so much for talking to me. Great win. Back to you guys.
Thanks, Christy. Another fantastic performance by Razor, getting back to his form from early in the season, and what an important time to do so, Andrew.
Yeah, with 4 losses in a row, Complexity really needed to bounce back, and now you see it. Cloud9 up at the very top, Immortals in second, Complexity moving up, and now Energy has been completely eliminated from the playoffs, giving us 2 teams now out of contention, Rich.
And now that playoff picture gets even more insane because Cloud9 in the first place spot, Complexity in the third place spot, it's going to be Immortals in the second place. And we've talked about it over and over again how important first and second place actually are to make it easier to get to the World Finals.
Absolutely, and those World Finals will be taking place in Tokyo, Japan on December 1st. We'll be there. You should join us. Go in-game to your news tab and find out how.
And you can join us every time we're here for CRL by hitting that subscribe button on the Clash Royale Esports YouTube page. Don't forget to ring that bell for all your notifications. Of course, go to esports.clashroyale.com to follow along the standings and other important Clash Royale League information. And there is the Clash Royale Esports tab inside your app when you're playing. Check that out. We'll talk about our next match very soon, but first, let's look at some more of these cards. We're going to find a legendary.
We are going to get a legendary today, guys. Fill in the comments below what you think that legendary is going to be. I think it's going to be a minor.
I am going to go with, we'll find out. Who knows?
Inferno Tower,
Goblins,
Fire Spirits, Archers, Skelly Barrel, Ice Spirit, and Cannon. Nothing exciting there.
None. Bomb Tower, Toxic. Go to shop.supercell.com to get yours. You can buy these in the small collection of packs. You can buy Big boxes, little boxes.
Yeah, keep talking. I'm going to just breeze through these packs.
Bro, I'm going to get there before you, dude. Okay, Cannon, Ice Spirit, Skeleton Barrel, Archer, Zap, Elixir Collector.
I'm not even telling you what they are anymore.
Let's
I'm not
go.
saying it unless I get a legendary.
If I find, you know what, if I see a dope rare, I'll tell you what it is.
All right,
Other than
that's fair.
that, let's just go.
I've got most of a mortar deck here. I've got some. I've got a Gob Hut in here as well. It's a little shiny.
Here we go. This is it. E-Barbs, Goblin Gang, Bats, Minions, Purple Ice Spirit,
it's not
Ice
it.
Golem.
It's not it.
God, it's gonna happen. Dude, I want to beat you to this so bad.
You're
Come
not
on.
going to. I got a Mini P.E.K.K.A. I got Gob Gang.
There is a
Bomber.
guaranteed, look, there's a guaranteed legendary
It's
per
in
box.
here.
We know it's in here. So the question now is who will find it first. Furnace. I'm going to go Furnace Fire Spirits, bro.
Ah! Yeah! Got
Ooh, the log!
One of the best legendaries in the game. I didn't
Yep.
get this till I was in Arena 12.
Really that late?
Legitimately, it was that late.
Brutal.
I never got it. Boom, guys. Shop.supercell.com. Find your cards now. I'm keeping this legendary.
Guys, that's been CRL North America for this week. We'll be back Tuesday, October 6th at October 9th, sorry, at 6 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. You have Cloud9 Immortals, TSM versus Tribe. For Andrew Guy, I'm Rich Slayton. We'll see you next week back in the arena.
So ends another great saga in the Clash Royale League. We have seen Royal Giants do great damage, and Fireballs destroy impending attacks. We have witnessed phenomenal players fight valiantly, and we have seen the mighty fall. The CRL season is now on the home stretch, on the final march to the playoffs. And man, is it getting hot in here? Is it? Well, anyway, who will earn a trip to Tokyo to battle in the World Finals? Keep watching to find out. Subscribe to the Clash Royale Esports channel. And remember, never ever hunt in my kingdom without the proper permits. The hunter is okay, he's licensed and approved, but you are not. Got it? Good.